The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Regular furnace maintenance can be your wallet's best friend, slashing energy bills and warding off those inconvenient breakdowns that seem to strike at the worst moments. Don't leave it to chance. Schedule your tune-up today at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Ahoy, matey, it'd be a glorious day.
National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
Top 10 signs you're watching a bad pirate movie. Here we go. Ship is a 1992 Toyota Corolla. Long discussions about which is the best over-the-counter seasickness remedy. It chronicles the hero's attempt to open a Long John Silver's franchise. Instead of a hook, a pirate's missing hand replaced by a giant Weir #1 foam finger. Yeah, bad. Signs you're watching a
that would definitely be a bad.
Sure.
I don't do anything for a stupid reason, except perhaps talk like a pirate day.
Zoinks! A talking pirate skull!
Happy National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
It's showtime.
F me. It's that time again. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. We're as ready as we're going to be, I guess, for a Tuesday morning broadcast. Now, Cubby, you're not going to spend the entire show talking like a pirate.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me try that again. You're not going to spend the entire show talking like a pirate, are ye?
Do you mean, are ye? Isn't that what you mean?
See, I've never spent it. I'm not trying to start trouble, but I've never spent any significant amount of time practicing how to talk like a pirate. So
it's kind of weird that we celebrate pirates, don't you think? I mean, do you think hundreds of years from now it'll be carjackers, that we have a national carjacking day?
That's true.
That's a really interesting thought.
They weren't great people, were they? No.
Yeah, they were drunk and stole a bunch of stuff.
Violent burglars, or I should say robbers.
Yeah.
I played a pirate in a play at a community center when I was younger.
All right, now we're talking. This is when we have those show meetings, and we talk about somebody bring something up that we can, really get involved in. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Ashley's going to tell us about when she played a pirate in a community theater.
Do you still have video of this play?
No, I don't. I guess I never really told you guys. I got into like drama and that kind of stuff for a little bit until I hit about 8th grade. And then, that wasn't cool in middle school. So I stopped doing that kind of stuff. But they wanted us to, kind of talk like a pirate. I did not whatsoever. I couldn't get over the embarrassment I felt for myself to talk like a pirate in public.
I don't blame you. I don't think I could do it either.
That'd be difficult, unless you're trying to annoy someone.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good way to get punched in the face.
Exactly. Up there arg. Yeah.
Do you have any idea, Josh, why September 19th, by the way, my bro Curtis's birthday?
Happy birthday.
Do you have any idea why today is when Talk Like a Pirate Day has been designated a thing?
I'm not 100% sure why today specifically. Apparently it started as a joke between a couple of dudes in Oregon, right? They're playing a little racquetball, and one of them's talking like a pirate, and they decide, so maybe it was on that day that they just decided, hey, let's celebrate this day. For whatever reason, it just happened to that joke started. And then they write into Dave Barry. You familiar with him? A humorist?
Yeah.
No.
Pretty well-known humorist, and he loved it. He thought it was great, so he published a story on it, and it became a thing.
Man. I don't think I'll get involved. Like I said, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I've never spent any time. I'm an amateur when it comes to... But I will say this. I'm not trying to start a problem amongst the 4 or 5. How many? 5 of us.
Five.
I'm not trying to start a problem. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. Dave Letterman was talking about pirate movies. Cabin Boy is the greatest pirate adventure film ever created.
And Dave Letterman's in it.
Oh, he is in it for a minute or two.
He calls Chris Elliott a fancy lad.
He does.
You're one of them fancy lads, aren't you?
Effin' Cabin Boy.
Never heard of it.
I'm telling you, the greatest pirate adventure ever told. If you know Cabin Boy, then you know where I'm going with this. The scene where Chris Elliott, who portrays the cabin boy on a pirate ship, the scene, Josh, where he is forced to sing and dance for the pirates while they throw garbage at him
yes.
for the pirates' entertainment, is one of the greatest and funniest scenes in movie history.
Or when he loses his virginity.
I don't remember the...
These pipes are clean!
I forgot about that.
Chris Elliott is one of the most underrated comedy actors. I can't... I'm sure there's others that just aren't coming to mind right now, but Chris Elliott is one of the bigger ones. He was so funny in everything he did.
Absolutely brilliant. It's a damn shame and bordering on a crime that Chris Elliott is thought of as a second-rate
he is not
comedy actor. And then again, I'm not trying to just be a broken record here, but yet they hand Adam Sandler $475 million for rhyming turkey with gherky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chris Elliott, brilliant. We've always had that in common, our feelings on that guy.
Got a text saying, well, I never knew I had a national day. I feel pretty damn special. That is from Peg Leg Jesus. That's very pirate of her.
But I mean, if you want to go further with pirate movies, help me out. I'm going to try to come up with a few of them. You got your the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, you got a bunch of those.
I remember watching one of those. I thought it was all right. The gal in the movie, gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Those are the only pirate ones I really
more
know.
Modern one, Captain Phillips.
Tom
Hanks.
Damn.
A bunch of local actors, isn't it? Well, I don't think they were necessarily even actors beforehand.
I watched that one night years ago. I don't remember much about it. Captain Phillips, modern day pirate. Okay, you got your Peter Pan, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I love
Captain
Peter
Hook.
Pan.
I haven't seen that since I was 4, but I remember there being something was happening with pirates and Peter could fly or something. I don't remember.
What about Captain Ron?
Could he not fly?
Yeah, he could fly.
Okay,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Captain. You're talking
Kurt Russell, Martin Short.
Oh, I don't remember Captain Ron.
I enjoyed that movie.
I mean, I remember it was a thing, but I don't remember if I ever watched
Yeah, I don't
Captain
think I have either, but I do know of it.
Martin Short's in it. I hate myself for not trying it. Many variations over the years of Moby Dick. And I watched one not that long ago. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but it was really fun.
I've never seen one. We didn't read the book in school.
Yeah, me neither.
It seemed like a lot of people did. We didn't read it.
Oh, I never bothered reading about Moby Dick. This version of Moby Dick, it isn't that old. It wasn't called Moby Dick, but it was one of those handsome guys. You folks know who they are. They were the lead actor. It was one of the Chris's, I think, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Christ. Maybe someone will text me. Let me fire up my text machine. It was one of these hip new actors that everyone seems to like, and they were fishermen. It was the Moby Dick story, for Christ's sake.
There's Our Flag Means Death. That anybody watching that one?
No, I saw an ad for it last night. It looked very funny.
Have you guys
Black Sails on Stars?
Our Flag Means Death. That looked very funny.
That
Yes,
looked really
Waffle.
fun. Well, Josh said Black Sails. I loved that series.
That's one
very good.
I just watched the first episode and for no real reason didn't go back to it.
Yeah, I loved it. It was the same time Game of Thrones was out, so I was
Maybe
always
that's
watching
why.
those two.
Stop texting me about Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball, because Dodgeball is not a funny movie, and my
like
least
Steve.
favorite character in that stupid, overrated movie was Steve the Pirate.
We had a pirate on our team?
Okay, here's a Jibway Jesus. It was Chris Hemsworth who was the lead character in this Moby Dick movie from a handful of years ago.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Here it is. In the Heart of the Sea. Here's a listener who got it. In the Heart of the Sea. It's the Moby Dick story. I don't know how old the movie is. 7-8 years ago. It was fun.
2015.
Have you guys seen the new Netflix show One Piece?
I haven't even heard of it.
I started it and I couldn't get into
Oh,
it.
I absolutely love it. I loved it. I watched the whole thing. I was going to text you, Josh. Actually, I think your son would really like it. It's got stuff for adults in it and stuff for kids.
Oh yeah. I did see a preview for this.
Super cute.
What was the pirate movie? Oh, maybe I shouldn't call it a pirate movie. It was more just the story of. God, you can tell I flunked so many classes in high school. You know, in the old days when one country would fight against another country while on a big wooden ship?
Yeah.
You recognize that happened?
Yep.
What do I refer to that time period as?
Well, I mean, that's hundreds of years.
Yes. Anyway, so maybe we shouldn't call it a pirate movie. Russell Crowe was fighting on his boat against...
Master and Commander?
There you go, yeah. Master. I really like that one.
Yeah, that was bomb.
Maybe you shouldn't call it a pirate movie. You see where I'm trying to go with all this? What am I missing? Anything?
Goonies.
Please. Why do you call that a pirate movie?
They're going after pirate treasure, and they find the pirate ship. And
Don't you mean booty?
They float out on it after. That's how they escape the thing.
Never saw it.
You should be a movie reviewer. They float on it, and that's how they escape the thing.
That's how they escape out of the cave with all the treasure. One Eye Willie's treasure.
I will never watch that movie. Waterworld, somebody said.
I liked Waterworld, and I think I'm one of the few.
Yeah, that movie sounded like a disaster.
I mean, I saw 20 minutes of it back in the day.
Only if you ask anybody who's ever seen it outside of me. I liked it.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of it.
Eastbound at Sundown, Jesus. Do we call The Princess Bride a pirate movie?
The Dread Pirate Roberts, right?
Okay.
The Man in Black.
It's been a long time, so you're going to say go ahead and call it a pirate movie?
Sure.
You're not worried about it.
There's a couple other ones that have been just kind of on the border here.
Muppets Treasure Island. Sorry, I didn't try that one. That's fun. Got some listeners who have watched a pirate movie or two in our audience. Now, SpongeBob made a pirate movie, somebody says. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure.
Speaking of movies, you guys watch everything. You can't get most programs or movies past the four of you. One of you, at least, has dialed into it. Series, movies, everything. The zombie programs is something that I've never gotten involved in. The apocalyptic zombie programs. Walking on Sunshine. What was that one called?
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. You guys all tried at least a little bit of that?
Oh, I loved The Walking Dead.
I watched almost all the seasons. I kind of got sick of it. The last two or maybe one season I didn't watch.
Yeah, it got redundant.
Yeah, I punted.
Most definitely.
I thought it was mundane towards the end.
And there are others like it, right? There are others like it, but maybe the premier zombie apocalyptic movie the last 20 years, Walking Dead, right?
It was a big one.
All right. Recently on the internet, social media, people started to comment on the problems that are never addressed in apocalyptic movies. Now, seeing how all of you have tried that style of movie, can you think of, the little things that were happening during the program that drove you nuts? Like, why didn't they try to do this to the zombie? Or why didn't they get in that car? Or why don't they... that kind of a thing. Little moments in the show that you in your mind, you're like, that doesn't really completely make sense.
Well, I can't say it drove me nuts, but in the first episode of The Walking... Well, I think it was the first episode where Rick comes out of the hospital and wakes up. Mm-hmm. He was pretty chill with all the zombies, around. He handled it a lot better than I think I would.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, you mean he had no idea what was going on?
No. And he comes out of a coma, basically. Yeah. And he's walking around like, whoa, that's strange.
Yeah. Like, there's no one around. Wait,
the world has come to an end, and it's overtaken by flesh-eating, undead characters, and he seemed to be way too comfortable with that.
And remarkably calm.
Nitpicky, but something I've noticed that, again, hasn't really bothered me.
I dig that.
People, their hygiene is still pretty impeccable, even if it's decades after the apocalypse.
That's exactly what I was going to mention, especially if a girl has any sort of makeup on or their hair done. No, that's not happening.
Rick always has that just perfect 5 o'clock shadow, at all times.
Oh, he really does. Yeah, he's trimming.
Trimmed.
And I mean, realistically, a lot of us would be screwed. I mean, outside of your neighborhood, would you know where to go? No. I wouldn't know. Wait, where should I go to be saved here? I'd have no clue. Well, I don't think I could walk. I couldn't walk to any 4th, 5th ring suburbs if that's where you're supposed to go for sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be in some trouble.
I also like how they just kind of leave Rick there. He's like in a medically induced coma, and then everyone's just kind of like, all right, see you later.
Well, I suppose a lot of them are dead, and the rest are like, F this guy, he's probably dead.
True.
Maybe they didn't like the guy very much. Those are all good answers. I'm gonna dive into this article here, or these oh man, what's the word these days? Everyone says takes, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the takes from the general public on the problems that are never addressed in apocalyptic movies. Let's see how much of what you said comes into play. One individual said, we all know the basic post-apocalyptic struggles that zombie movies often show us. Not enough food, people killing each other, and of course zombies trying to eat you. But they simply say, what about diarrhea?
But I'm glad they don't show that in the movies. I would wonder, why are we spending 5 minutes on diarrhea here?
Cars are a problem with some people when they're trying to make sense of these apocalyptic movies. Tires go bald, gasoline goes bad, fuel lines go bad if a car's been sitting for a few years, mice chew through the wires. Sometimes in an apocalyptic show, they will show the effort to obtain gas, but they never address it going bad over time. And sometimes they'll show a battery being jumped, but mostly you just hop into a car you've just found and drive off. So the simple issues that would plague a car during that type of a scenario bothers some people.
I guess I didn't realize that gas goes bad. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you've never owned a lawnmower or anything, have you?
Oh, no.
Mm-mm. Dysentery. Everyone would have dysentery. Now, I've heard that said out loud. I don't know exactly what that means. Is that
it killed me a lot in the Oregon Trail.
Yep,
Bingo.
same here.
That's how I learned about it.
What is dysentery?
I don't know. I just know that
it's a bacterial infection.
Is it? Okay.
Okay. Here's something that you hit on. Body hair for women.
My eyebrows would be atrocious. All those girls have very nice eyebrows.
Nutrocious.
Nutrocious. Is that a candy bar from the 70s?
Sounds like it would be.
Right now they're on fleek, if you don't mind me saying.
Thank you.
Here's what this lady says. You see women in rags covered in dirt with the stringiest hair that looks like it hasn't been washed in a year, yet they have perfect brows and they look like they've had a full body wax within the past week. Yeah.
Pubes would be out of control.
Oh,
my goodness. Could you imagine?
I mean, we'd be
pubes?
back to the 40s and 50s.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. Josh and I would be readying ourselves to fight zombies, and my wristwatch would get caught in Josh's pubes, and we'd be easy target. I can't run. It would hurt too much.
Yeah, I'd have to have Velcro pants. I'd get it caught in the zipper all the time.
And don't ask us how my wristwatch got caught up in his pubes, but that's how out of control they are. This is an interesting one. Zombies' pants would all fall down because of how much weight they lose from their human form.
Oh.
I mean, they're all kicking their pants around at their ankles. They'd be easy to outrun. This is something that has entered my mind when I've watched war movies before. You know the scene in the war movie where we as a platoon are all forced to sleep in the trenches and try to be as quiet as possible, right? Mm-hmm. All right, boys, shut her down for the night. Yeah, the enemy's only 100 feet away, but we need to get some sleep. Just be real quiet. Snoring. That's something that's crossed my mind when I watch a war movie. I think, dude, if that was me, if I was able to sleep in the trenches, I would begin snoring and give our position away, and I'd be killed. And that's addressed here in this article about apocalyptic television shows and movies. Anyone who snores would be easily found by a zombie and most likely killed. Yeah.
I can think of one that I've thought of before. People with bad eyesight that don't have glasses, that use contacts. Like,
sure.
And I've also mentioned to people, I don't want to team up with anybody that doesn't have good vision. Like, you need to be superior. It's survival of the fittest.
Somebody with poor vision, their glasses are broken, their contacts go bad, whatever.
I can't have them on my team.
Worse than that, though. I've read a couple more, I guess, realistic apocalyptic books I've mentioned before that I have, to the point where I wanted to build a bunker after reading them.
I remember that.
And I remember when you were in that mode, yeah.
Yeah, they talk a lot about diabetes. And for people that need insulin, how bad that would be if they can't get or I think refrigerate their insulin. Something, you wouldn't really think about.
Right.
I mean, unless you have diabetes.
Yeah.
Basic medical care wouldn't be available to people. That's mentioned quite a few times in this write-up. Dental care. How many people would be straight up dying from abscesses?
Oh, yeah, you'd never be able to brush.
I wouldn't know how to feed myself.
What do you mean you wouldn't know how to feed yourself?
I mean, I understand that you kill an animal or something, but I don't know how to gut a deer or do anything like that.
Well, yeah, you do your best in that situation, Josh. I mean...
Josh
I think you could figure it out.
What if there's no Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Josh is just out there trying to eat berries.
I mean,
those berries, that's deer droppings.
if it ever happens, Josh, I mean, just remember, you're not trying to, impress the local butcher before you turn your animal in to be... You just want to survive. So, some guts and some poop that are remaining on your deer fillet, I think you'll be all right.
I don't think I'd be able to, make a weapon. If I had to make a weapon...
Well, you keep it basic, Wapple. Make a spear. Anyone can make a spear.
It'd have to be a stick.
Yeah, but then I'm going to have to eat, snakes and rabbits. It's not like I'm going to get, like a deer.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to spear a deer.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'd all be in the same boat, really, Wapple, unless we had weapons at the ready. I think you don't know till you get there. I think if you ever were in that position, I think you do just as well as the next guy. Now, here's a theory on apocalyptic films that might make you feel a little better about the idea of it happening for real. Zombies, they say there would be no ongoing zombie apocalypse. It would be over in a couple of weeks, and here's why. A zombie would starve eventually, probably in a week or two.
That's what I was trying to think.
Only a few will feed. Most will be out of luck, and then they would likely freeze solid in the winter because they're too dumb to seek shelter. At least if you base, your typical zombie on what we see in the movies. They're just kind of blindly racing around looking for flesh. They're not the brightest characters in the world.
That does make me feel a little bit better.
It'd be 2 weeks.
I could do a 2 weeks on the
I think we could all
apocalypse.
handle 2 weeks.
That'd be fun.
Like in The Walking Dead, sometimes they'll show a zombie and it's stomach's completely ripped out or something and it's still walking around and I'm kind of like, how?
Headshots.
Yeah, no, I know. I understand that, but the stomach's gone, so when's the last time this thing's eaten?
Oh, that's true. And how are you still walking or even crawling? Yeah.
He's a tough one. He's the tough one. Parasites, tapeworms, ringworms, endless amount of disease.
How boring would it be if they put all that in, some of the movies?
Yeah, I suppose. You're right.
No, ringworm.
That's the biggest story of the episode.
Well, no, I want to see faces getting eaten and stuff like that, not ringworm.
You have to suspend reality, don't you, Cubby?
Yeah, otherwise, if it's too... It's like, I remember with video games, after a while, Nick, you would complain, in the
Mario.
Grand Theft Audio. Auto, not audio.
Okay, go ahead. Grand Theft Auto?
Where he's you got to feed your character and stuff like that.
You had to go to the gym in one of the versions. I don't like going to the gym in real life.
I kind of liked that.
I refuse to get involved in that. I remember that version of Grand Theft Auto, and I think you and I might have played it together, and we both were kind of frustrated. What do you mean I got to stop and have something to eat?
Right.
Well, why? I just want to have sex with prostitutes and get in gunfights. Why do I? That was one of their biggest mistakes. Not that I'm an expert on the Grand Theft Auto series. Okay, so you're saying you wouldn't want this included in your apocalyptic program, Josh. Caffeine and nicotine withdrawal.
No.
You don't need a full episode on that?
How much of a dick would you feel people lose their families to hordes of zombies? And you're like, oh, yeah, but I got this wicked caffeine headache.
Yeah. I just need a little puff. That's all I need.
You get your crew of survivors in trouble because you had to break a window and grab some cigarettes?
Yeah. Oh, I would be so crabby.
Look, I got to have a heater. All right? You gave away our position.
I'd be so much more annoyed by the fact that I need tobacco than the fact that there's zombies coming after me.
Here you go, Josh. Another complaint about the lack of common sense sometimes in these zombie programs. Everyone always, this is what you were saying, Cubby, everyone always seems to know where to go. If it were me, I'd die because I can't find my way back to base or something like that. I'm right there with you. Nobody And I mean, nobody has a worse sense of direction than I do. I'm an embarrassment to my truck driver father on this topic.
Really?
Absolutely zero sense of direction, Wapple.
With you knowing so many like cities and stuff like that around the area, that kind of shocks me.
No, I appreciate your compliment. And yes, I know a lot of towns and cities, and I can tell you generally where they are. I'm talking about
if you were dropped in a field and go find north.
I
idea.
want to clarify what I was saying. If there were roads, I could figure out where to go. Relatively easy. I get where the way the roads work around here. But yeah, if I was dropped in a field, like you said, I could figure out, where the sun rises and sets, but I still wouldn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, I'd be screwed at night. If he did it to me at night, I'd be like, okay, there's no sun.
And just lay down, go to bed.
If the grass is too high, there's bugs in there, and I can't do that.
Oh, no. That's ticks.
I would be effed in any direction scenario, even if I'm on a road. I have to have landmarks. East, west, north, south means nothing to me. And I use my dad as an example. I've called my dad before when I've gone out of town. Hey, I'm going to Milwaukee. Because my dad, a retired over-the-road truck driver, he's been every effing where, like that Johnny Cash song, I've been everywhere. So I've said, hey, when I get into Milwaukee, which way should I go to? And he's like, the west side of 35, and then you take the east and the north route. And I have to say, dude, right, left. I don't know east, west. I don't. I'm horrible with that.
Okay, I'm going to have to backtrack a little bit. I would know how to get around in the nighttime, too, because I would know the stars. I'd be fine with that.
You know how to follow that kind of thing?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's the first star in the sky.
Do you really know? I'm wondering if you really know.
Yeah, I do.
In the dark, you could find your way around by following the stars. See, I never followed that bit.
Yeah, I know, the different constellations and when they come out, the different seasons and stuff like that. They
Dork.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, they taught us that in elementary school. I don't remember it, though.
We're going to need you then, Wapple.
Zombie Jesus said, apocalypse movies, the yards are always nice and mowed.
Yeah,
at times they are.
That. True. Yeah, and all the cities are never underwater, really?
They're never underwater? Well, why would they be underwater?
Well, you would think, water mains would break and there'd be just water shooting everywhere.
That's true, yeah.
Streets underwater and stuff like that.
They're never underwater. Yeah. Here they are in another town that's not underwater.
Yeah, like New Orleans, you're screwed. That town's going to always be underwater.
You and your water.
Which is the first of us to break down and have sex with a zombie?
Oh, man.
I'm looking at two people right now.
Yeah, who are you looking at?
Nick and Ashley.
Yeah, we're pretty horny, the two of us.
Yeah.
Anything devious, yeah. Me and Ashley are the likely correct answer.
It would try to kill me, and I would try to seduce the zombie.
I'd bang a zombie. Yes, I would.
Yeah, I guess I would, too.
I'd want them to be pretty
not?
put together, though. Not like Wapple was talking about. Not the one with, his stomach blown out.
Would you use a condom on the zombie?
No.
Oh, hell yes.
Zombie baby.
Yeah, we want to have
zombies. You're kind of picky about your zombies. You only want hot zombies.
I don't settle for mids.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. What do we got, a Tuesday show?
This is great from Ex-Beaver Jesus. He can follow the stars. Okay, Copernicus. And people are saying, what about clouds, Wapple? Clouds would kill you.
Yeah, if there's definite clouds. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you'd be screwed. There's an overcast.
I'm going to start calling you Copernicus.
And if I hear a wolf, I'm going to get scared.
Yeah, we'll all be scared. And none of us will make it. But we each, I think, have a strength or two that might help us survive for a day or two.
Yeah, you'd be able to see some of it go down.
Yeah, I'll be scavenging through the carcasses of the dead for chewing tobacco.
You're taking dips out of people's lips.
Oh, no.
You're really good at rhyming today. Spear, deer, dip, lip.
I might. Ashley's kicking in the front door of a family of survivors and fleecing them for some kind of a vape stick or something.
Where are the 16-year-olds at?
Play us your porno. We know you have porno. I haven't seen a porno in a week.
Oh, that would be brutal, too, because if you'd have to find a porn collection. You wouldn't be able to get online.
Yeah, we'd have to find a porn collection.
Pornhub went down? Oh, man.
You know, technically, you wouldn't have to find a porn collection.
I know we're running late, but I have thought about that. Like, how do the dudes get the poison out? Where do they go? Do they go to like the woods? Because you have to, right?
Yeah, you have to.
You're not going to sit there for like a year and just never.
Why would you have to go to the woods?
Do it. Or, I don't know, because you're around other people.
I mean, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world. What do I care if a pack of survivors watch me tear one loose?
That's true. You know what? If some guy's jerking off next to me in the apocalypse, that's the least of my problems.
You're cheering him on.
Unless that's how it started.
You're like, hey, good for you. Hey, that's a good idea.
Public
actually.
masturbation.
I'll get one going, too.
I don't think I'd want to. I'd keep that pent-up rage inside me.
That
good
might
idea.
benefit you. Mm-hmm. Like you wouldn't be jonesing for one, too, Ashley.
True.
For God's sake, where's she been for 20 minutes? Is she still holding that family hostage for their porn? We got to get out of here and take a little break. We'll be back in a minute on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
Regular furnace maintenance can be your wallet's best friend, slashing energy bills and warding off those inconvenient breakdowns that seem to strike at the worst moments. Don't leave it to chance. Schedule your tune-up today at standardheating.com.
If you have sleep apnea and struggle with CPAP, consider that CPAPs were invented in 1980. Do you even remember 1980? Everyone's house had one telephone. There were like 4 TV channels. Come on. You played video games in arcades and watched movies in theaters. GPS was a folded map and a helpful gas station attendant. And social media was inviting the neighbors to come look at your vacation pictures. A lot has changed since 1980. Now, for people who struggle with CPAP, there's Inspire. Inspire is an implanted device that treats sleep apnea inside your body at the click of a remote. It's the only FDA-approved sleep apnea treatment of its kind. While you sleep, Inspire keeps you breathing normally and resting comfortably. No mask, no hose, just sleep. To learn more, visit inspiresleep.com. Inspire, sleep apnea innovation. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right, some text messages have been sent our way. You can always reach us, 651-989-9393. We covered a few different topics in our opening conversation. You know, we're versatile. One of the topics we covered, I mentioned my horrible sense of direction. I have no idea, north, south, east, west, I don't know which direction I'm headed. I need a lot of help. And here I am. I just turned 52. F me running years old on Sunday. I never knew this. A farmer in our listening audience. Oh, well, I should say this. Farmland owner, not a farmer, Jesus, commented on directions. Did you guys all know this? I didn't. Odd number interstates are north and south. Even numbered interstates are east and west.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
No, me neither. That's bizarre. How the hell did I go this long without ever hearing that said out loud? Okay, we also talked about the zombie apocalypse. And some of the things, if you watch a zombie television show or movie, some of the little things that irk you, you know. Why does this girl look so hot? It's a friggin' apocalypse. What do you mean they jumped into a car that's been sitting there for 10 years? It started right up and they drove it away. Infantryman Jesus wrote in. Now, I never saw Walking Dead, the television show, so you guys tell me. Infantryman Jesus says, "The Walking Dead bugged me. How did our military get so easily overtaken by walking zombies? 150 cal would mow down so many zombies."
That's true.
That also irked me a bit. Right, and how are they taking down helicopters and things like that? It didn't make any sense.
I mean, did they show scenes in the movie where zombies were easily overwhelming our armed forces?
Not that I remember.
No, they were kind of already dead, I feel like.
Yeah, it was
they
just,
weren't around.
You'd see tanks, burned out tanks and crashed helicopters.
So it was just assumed that. Oh, and what else did I have here? Oh, we started off the program. Josh let us know that today is National Talk Like a Pirate Day. I want nothing to do with it, but it is National Talk Like a Pirate Day. And we got on the topic of pirate adventure movies. And this is a good one. We talked about Peter Pan and his gang, Master and Commander, Moby Dick, the Pirates of the Caribbean, Cabin Boy, the greatest pirate adventure movie of all time. Here's one we forgot, and or at least didn't mention. I've Got Wood Jesus. And I saw this not that long ago, and it's a good suggestion. Another great pirate movie, akin to Master and Commander, is an older movie with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins called The Bounty.
Never heard of it.
No, me neither.
It's very good. Early 80s. It must have been one of, maybe 85. Mel Gibson wasn't a massive star just yet when he was in that movie. And I agree with what I've Got Wood Jesus says about the positives about the movie. There's an intense mutiny and an island of topless women.
Oh.
And there is. Not a one of them's got a top on for a good hour and a half, Cubby.
That's gross. I will not be watching that. As I type it into my phone immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Note to self.
Oh. Here we go with the stupid news. Anybody here ever bother with signing up for pet insurance?
Considered it, but have not.
Me personally, never saw it. So you considered it, but never tried it? Josh?
Yes.
Anyone else?
My girlfriend has it.
That's smart.
But she's a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, for her dog, Millie. And then we're going to get it for Maisie soon.
I've always thought about getting it, and I'm like, oh, no, it'll be fine. And then something happens, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I had pet insurance.
Yeah, I never got involved in it, but it sounds like a good idea. Every year for the past 15 years, Nationwide Pet Insurance does something called the Ham Bone Award for the most unique pet injury claim. Okay? It was named after a dog that once crawled into a refrigerator, ate an entire holiday ham, and ended up with mild hypothermia.
We had one of our dogs had eaten essentially everything on the table that was getting ready for Thanksgiving, and so we had to have her stomach pumped. Oh. It was pretty bad.
I bet.
Whoa.
This effing dog, the namesake of the Ham Bone Award, my goodness, crawled into the fridge, ate an entire ham, got closed in, the sumbitch, ended up with mild hypothermia. Since they insure over 1 million pets, they hear a lot of insane pet injury stories. And they just named their finalists for 2023. So here are a couple of the keepers. These pets getting effed up, and then Nationwide Pet Insurance gets these claims thrown at them. Giles, a cat from New York City, or I guess it could be Gillies. Maybe they're a fan of the old New York Islander Clark Gillies. I'm going to go with Gillies. Gillies, a cat from New York City, got smashed in what I understand here to be a hide-a-bed. Out-of-town visitors inadvertently closed the cat into the folding couch. You see what happened there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gillies was inside the couch. He didn't suffer any lasting effects. But it doesn't note how long he was smashed inside that couch. That's funnier than hell. And friggin' cats. You know how cats are.
Cats. Yeah, me and the boyfriend's cat is not happy about moving into a new house, obviously, and she's been hiding behind the wash machine. And I'm like, she's going to get like third-degree burn hiding back there.
Why would some...
Because it heats up because the wash machine gets all hot.
Oh, dishwasher?
No, the washing machine and dryer. That's where she likes to hide.
Oh, yeah, she'll be all right.
She could get trapped in the lint filter if she's not careful. Why does she not like the new house?
She doesn't like the fact that there's 3 dogs. She's not a dog cat. Yeah, she wants to beat their ass.
Cats usually take a while to get used to new homes.
Yeah, they're weird.
She probably also doesn't like that it's in Coon Rapids.
That too.
A Labrador retriever in Texas named Grayson Hayes took an unexpected jump off of a 36-foot-high bridge and landed on a concrete embankment.
Do you think there was water or what?
Don't know. Dog survived, but that was one of the claims that Nationwide Pet Insurance received from a family. A pug from Las Vegas named Jax was wrapped up in a comforter at home while recovering from surgery. They wrap up the puppy in a comforter. Are you warm now?
Yeah, tuck him in.
And his little face sticking out. They wrapped him up like a stinking, like a taco, and he's happier than hell. But then he became dangerously overheated and suffered a heat stroke.
No.
Boy.
He damn near died, but he's okay. He's okay.
Poor guy.
Poor bastard. Just trapped. He's probably trying to get the hell out of there, but he can't.
That's what makes me sad.
It's a freaking pug. They don't have any real, strength to get themselves out of that mix.
They sure are cute.
Yeah. When I was living in Hamel, a guy 2 doors down from me had a pug, and my dachshund at the time, the Ozman, Ozzy and that pug became tight. They'd meet each other in the middle between the, 2 doors down. They'd meet somewheres there in the neighborhood and kind of play.
Cute.
One day, I opened up the door to do something, and the pug ran into my apartment, up the stairs, and just jumped into my bed and started taking a nap.
All right. He lives there now.
He just ran right in. He knew Ozzy was in there, but he didn't really even look for my dog. He just ran upstairs, got into bed.
I'm the proud uncle of a pug. I'll tell you what. I just saw my pug niece last night.
I like that.
How's she doing?
She's great.
I like those little bastards.
Me too. They're cute.
So here's another weird claim for the pet insurance folks. My damn. A mixed breed dog in California named Josie lost 4 teeth and had its jaw broken for it while aggressively chasing a ball during a game of fetch. She collided with a pair of cast iron stadium seats, which just so happen to have come from historic Candlestick Park. Chasing that tennis ball, with all the fervor that a dog can bring, and she bashed her teeth into these old stadium seats from Candlestick Park. I know a dog who got paralyzed while playing fetch.
Oh, man.
It really kind of freaked me out to the idea of playing fetch indoors. Owner threw the tennis ball for the dog. He goes racing like hell after the tennis ball, gets onto some, unfinished flooring, and he was going so fast, this puppy, he tries to hit the brakes, and he does, but he slides and rams his noggin into a closed door. He's paralyzed.
Poor baby.
How'd he get around? Did they get him a little wheelchair?
That I don't know. I think that was the end for him.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think that was it.
I wish I didn't ask.
Yeah, no, it's okay. These things happen. But this is the same dog who, maybe he just wasn't the brightest dog in the world. This is the same dog who, while they were whipping around town in a convertible, he just said, "What are you doing there, a 60, 65? Yeah, I'm going to jump out."
Oh.
He lived through that adventure. He jumped out of a damn convertible, and according to witnesses, absolutely cartwheeled for like a quarter of a mile.
Oh.
He lived through that, but then he knocked his cranium into that closed door, and I think that was when the lights went out for good. What else do I have here? Jesus. Some of these pets get... A cat from New Orleans named Miko got bitten near the eye during a fight with a pack of doves.
They're a sign of peace.
All week you can vote which of these pets should be given the annual Ham Bone Award at petinsurance.com. You can go over there. They got pictures of all these pets along with a full story of what happened to each of them. Last year's winner was a dog named Rafa. A cat named Rafa. Oh, maybe it's Rafa, like Rafa. Oh, what about? I was thinking of
Rastafarian is what you were thinking of.
Yeah, I had that all mixed up. So Rafa, a cat from Seattle, he was rescued after falling 45 feet down a storm drain. So like the world's most intense water slide is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
He was in the ICU for 4 days, but now he's back to normal.
Chasing a rabbit, one of our dogs jumped off a retaining wall the other day, and I thought, well, he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
He was fine. I don't know how he didn't hurt himself.
Oh, man. All right, I'm going to let her buck here with a story now that straight up pisses me off. We've seen this kind of thing before on stupid social media, and we'll see it again. I'm just saying, if this was my kid, there isn't a single doubt in my mind that I'm throwing that kid smooth out the house, and he or she may never be allowed back.
I had a feeling this would infuriate.
I hate this. I hate this. This sends my blood pressure through the friggin' roof. Some dude in Australia, he goes by the name of Kai Anderson, a young dude, I'm assuming, but I don't have an age in here. The story calls him a professional prankster. He coated his folks' entire kitchen in that peanut butter-looking stuff called Nutella.
Oh, I'd kill somebody.
Everything but the floor. The counters, the refrigerator, the cabinets, the microwave, the stove. He put a video up online. All the social media dorks watched the video. I would need to rely on self-control if my kid did this in my house. I know it's not legal or moral to punch a kid square in the jaw with all the strength that I have and knock him unconscious down onto the kitchen floor. So since I can't do that, I'll be packing all his stuff up and throwing it out onto the lawn, and I'd say, go paint your own kitchen with whatever Nutella is.
Oh, yeah, I'd play the long game. It'd be like 20 years later, and I would do the same thing back to him.
Oh!
once he gets established.
Yep.
That's a great...
What is it like working for something? You got this awesome house, you're so happy with yourself, and then I ruin it.
That's a great idea. My rage didn't allow me to consider such a thing. So you wait until he's 40... He's got a few kids, he's got a job, he's got all the responsibilities in the world, and then you paint your son's kitchen with Nutella.
Yep.
That's brilliant.
That is good.
Karma.
I'd throw in some feces, too.
Yeah.
And semen.
What?
I would.
Whoa.
I would. I'm going to take it to a higher level.
That is a higher level.
Should I take it to a higher level or not, Ashley?
That's
take
a
it
lot.
To a higher level.
You want semen in your kitchen? No. Yuck.
Not my problem.
Yeah, it's not my kitchen. So the video starts with how the kitchen originally looked, all nice and clean, and
it's
then
a fancy house.
It's a nice looking place, isn't it, Cubby? And then it cuts to the whole place painted with Nutella. Oh, painted is the word I just used. You want to know what word the English story writers used? And you can try and use it in a sentence later this week to impress your friends. I said painted or covered. The English said what? Anyone want to take a guess?
No clue.
Festooned.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
I like that.
It's been a while since I've festooned something.
Yeah. Decorated.
Aren't they the worst? The English? So this doucheface Anderson, whatever his name is, he claimed in the comment section of his post that the cleanup wasn't too bad because he laid down saran wrap first. Doesn't matter at all to me.
Still going to have that smell in there I hate the smell of it too. Ugh.
He calls himself a professional prankster, and his best idea is to smear Nutella everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty weak.
He laid down saran wrap first, he said. Well, don't be surprised if you feel saran wrap pulled tightly around your mouth and nose someday with your dad on the other end. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. Somebody's going to be out the house.
That stuff's expensive, too.
What about you, Josh? Come on. You're a dad.
I'd be furious. I mean...
You throw them out the house and say, get your own place to live no matter how old they are?
I like pranks, right? And I could see, some creativity or humor in a way here, but I think it's different if you actually pull it off versus just joking about it. I mean, I don't know how you could do this to somebody.
Right. That's exactly what crosses my mind. How could you do this to, especially your effing folks? I'll tell you this much. If I would have done that to my folks when I was 17, I'd have been living in the woods. Not a doubt in my mind.
I'm hoping they're the type of people that would find this funny. But I think that there'd be few and, far and few between.
We know what you mean.
From folks that would find that funny. That is a big mess. I'd have a good mind to go find some bikini-festooned women and have them wrestle in my kitchen and covered in Nutella.
Little Nutella match?
Girl.
There you go. This will be a pain in the ass. By God, it would. A Canadian lady has no idea why a package of 1,000 condoms got delivered to her doorstep. Man, if the neighbors catch wind of that, they're going to think she's the new Canadian women's champion of sexual intercourse. 1,000 condoms got delivered to her door. And the poor gal also got charged 700 Canadian dollars for this mega box of Jimmies. Remember when we were young and they called them Jimmies? Josh?
We never referred to it as that, but I've heard that term before.
No,
Jimmy
yeah.
hats.
Jimmy hats, yeah, that's what I heard.
That always just irked the living hell out of me. When we were kids and some of dudes I knew started referring to them as Jimmy or Jimmy hats, I wanted to choke people out.
We really can't understand what exactly took place and why we received the package at our house. We clearly did not order this package. It's a lot of money, but I would perhaps try to advertise that I am selling condoms at a discounted price.
Is that her?
Yeah.
She goes by the name of Joelle Angelheart.
It's a pretty name.
That is a very pretty and interesting name. She's confused. She doesn't know what the hell's going on. She did get a message of some sort from Amazon saying that the Mongo condom shipment was on its way. She thought it was some sort of a scam. It wasn't. It was a long, drawn-out pain in the ass to get her money back, but she did. Can you imagine, Josh, if you were stuck with all those rubbers? I suppose if you had a teenage son, you could say, well, kid, you better get yourself a girlfriend.
Yeah, no doubt. I was trying to think, how long would it take, like Wapple, how long would it take you to use 1,000 condoms?
Oof, boy.
Because you're a condom user, are you not?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, that's so silly. What the hell's the matter with you? You're a regular condom user?
Yeah.
What? Where's the fun in your life?
I can't afford a kid right now, so I'd go about like 260 a year.
You pull out. What the hell's the matter? What? You're gonna have sex 260 times a year?
Yeah, maybe probably less.
I love how that changed.
Give or take a few.
Well, it's like 5 times a week. You know, if you
five times a week?
Yeah, if you use 5 condoms a week and then times that by, 52, that's 260.
At my current pace, Josh, it would take me 1,000 years. What the hell is this now? The story closes out by saying this Angel Heart lady may want to thank her lucky stars the condoms weren't used in Australia. A couple of women reportedly received packages containing used rubbers.
Oh. No. Oh, the smell.
Ashley, shame on you.
I'm not sure where Ibiza is. Am I saying that right? Ibiza?
That's how I've heard it pronounced. Yeah,
I've heard
Mediterranean, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I've heard it. It doesn't really matter. Stupid news. Our next stupid news story took place in Ibiza. A lady pissed a few people off over there. She went ahead and dumped her dead brother's ashes into a public swimming pool.
Ew.
It looks to me like this pool is only a couple feet deep. I don't know if this is common, but it looks like the pool is at some kind of an outdoor nightclub kind of a setup, and folks just wade around in it trying to find a stranger to fold later that evening. Is that what it looked like to you, Josh?
Yeah, it's just a little over ankle deep.
Okay, so you kind of wade around in it. It's some cute trick to get people to come to your nightclub. Mm-hmm. She dumped a vial of her dried up dead brother in there.
Yeah, that's gross.
And people thought it was pretty gross and selfish. She, of course, recorded it and put it on social media. There were some who didn't see anything wrong with what this gal did. And I didn't directly see any comments like this, but I would imagine some of you might be thinking, well, in a regular pool, everybody hauls off and takes a leak in their swim trunks, and that blends in with the pool water, so what's the big deal with the ashes of a dead human being? I don't know. I guess it depends on the person, how you feel about this.
Some might consider it disrespectful to the cremains.
Yeah.
Somebody in the comment section said, this is interesting, my grandpa's ashes disappeared about the same time my grandma began going senile. You follow what I'm saying so far?
Yes.
To this day, we think she might have used Grandpa's ashes to make a cake for the family back in 1968.
Oh.
What's that out of a horror movie?
Yeah.
And another comment on the topic of someone dumping their dead brother's ashes into a swimming pool. Somebody said, well, what's wrong with a pool filter as your final resting place?
Was he particularly attached to that nightclub pool or something? Just kind of it seems like an odd place.
I think her brother did enjoy hopping around to all the clubs in Ibiza, and so she was putting a little bit here, a little bit there. Oh, I'll put a little bit over here, kind of a thing. What do I have left here? Last week, I think it was, we had a stupid news story about a lady who has been declared dead by the IRS. She tries to pay her taxes every year, and the IRS asks her, hey, what are you doing alive? They declared her dead. Now here's a Brazilian dude who has spent the last 28 years of his life legally dead. He's a 71-year-old. He was pronounced dead in 1995, and I'll get to how that happened in a minute. So he spent the next 28 years of his life legally dead. Last month, the legally dead guy by the name of Manuel Marciano. Oh, I'm not done yet. Manuel Marciano da Silva. I apologize. We'll just call him Manuel. The legally dead guy by the name of Manuel had his death certificate annulled after a 2-year-long court battle. So he's legally alive again. Happy birthday.
Yeah, do you get 2 birthdays?
I think so.
He's back among the living. At first, he didn't know he was dead. He found out he was dead in 2000 plus 12. And life as a dead person the last couple of years has been a massive pain in the ass for Manuel. He couldn't collect his pension. He couldn't get access to free health care based on his insurance. Manuel found out that his ex-wife and 2 witnesses declared him dead to authorities back in 95. That's pretty sneaky. Declaring me dead when I'm not looking.
You should be able to commit any crime you want.
Yes.
Maybe short of murder or another terrible one. Light crimes.
Light crimes.
Yeah.
Again, he found out he was dead in 2000 plus 12. He tried to vote in a local election. The folks at the ballot box told him he wasn't on a list of living eligible voters because he was deader than disco. He didn't really care too much at the time, but like I said, in recent years, his status as a dead man has started to get in the way of this and of that. He finally hired a lawyer to contest the death certificate that his goofy ex-wife fraudulently wrote up, and he got himself a brand new birth certificate. It was a process.
I'm such a procrastinator. If I went to go vote and I found out they thought I was dead, I probably wouldn't take care of it right away either. Like, oh, I have to do all that?
If you went to go vote, Ashley, I would assume you were dead. I don't see you doing that alive.
I vote.
Wapple has sex 5 times a week, guys.
Can we get back to that?
Well, how old are you now?
I'm 31.
Oh, when I was 31, I could crank out more than that. Absolutely. I was in my sluttiest era between 30 and 40.
Yeah, 28 to 30 for me.
Oh, yeah. I was pumping out 5, 7, 8, 9. It was disgusting. But this poor bastard, it was a hell of a process to be legally alive again. They had to test his fingerprints in some wacky-ass way to prove he was still alive. He needed several witnesses to confirm that he wasn't dead. In the end, he managed to come back to life. He's pretty pumped about it. He's pretty pumped.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny at first, but I'm sure, like you said, everything he described sounds miserable.
I can't help it, Josh. All I've been thinking about this whole time in the telling this story is the outstanding double live album that Iron Maiden released back in 1985 called what, Josh? Live After Death. Which they recorded on their legendary World Slavery Tour.
You can find that whole album streaming on YouTube for free.
Oh, that's outstanding. The intro to the record before they kick into Aces High, of course, Winston Churchill's World War II speech. Remember that, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Gives me chills every time. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. Anyone else know what we're talking about?
No.
Okay,
No,
fair enough.
You
We
guys
shall
aren't
defend
Winston
our island.
Churchill or Iron Maiden,
Whatever
guys?
the cost may be.
I know both.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. That's the intro to Aces High. Hell, they did that when they were here in town on their...
I was just going to mention they did the exact same thing.
The legacy of the... Were you at that show, Wapple?
Yeah, I was.
The Legacy of the Beast.
Yeah.
And they started with...
T-shirt,
Did
and
they
it's
not
faded.
start with Winston Churchill and then they went into Aces High?
Yeah, and then they had that plane that kind of came down over our heads and went to the stage.
You were there.
Yeah.
And Wapple is so busy having sex, he still made it. And you, Dana, and Ashley, you don't even know what he's talking about.
I wasn't having sex and I wasn't at the show.
Let me tell you
just
something.
suck.
Nerd.
You can look that show up on YouTube. I've looked on YouTube for that show from the X from a few years ago, The Legacy. I've how should I say this? I've never experienced a more perfect chill up my spine at a live concert than when at the very end of Aces High, watch the video, and maybe Wapple and Josh remember this. At the very end of Aces High, Bruce Dickinson says, "St. Paul, welcome to the legacy of the Beast." I had a massive chill up my spine when he said that. That's what Iron Maiden can do to you at a live concert. I'll remember that till the day that I die.
It'd be pretty cool if they recorded one here.
A live show?
Yeah.
Holy Jesus.
Put that out, double album.
Screaming my balls off.
Because Live After Death was California. Long Beach?
Long Beach, a little bit of England, but
Yeah.
mostly Long Beach, California.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Here's Chubb trying to pick his way inside the 5, and he does. And the last thing any Browns fan wants to see, Nick Chubb holding his left leg.
Oh, boy.
I am told that the replay of Nick Chubb getting injured is not to be seen.
Yeah, we're not going to show it. It's as bad as you can imagine.
They just showed it on the big screen here in Pittsburgh, and the crowd gasped.
Nick's got a very significant knee injury. You know, you feel for the person. He's a great football player, as we know, but he's an even better person. So we will support him every step along the way.
Hey, you guys see that guy's leg fall off on the football game last night?
Dude.
That was rough.
That was brutal. I tuned in after it happened when they were just talking about it, and they started using words like gruesome and horrifying, and I was like, okay, let's look it up. And I was like, oh, okay, I wish I didn't.
Yeah, knees aren't supposed to do that.
No, it's just it's not supposed to go that way.
What was odd to me was he never showed any signs of being in terrible pain.
Yeah, maybe the shock.
He handled that really well.
Yeah, much better than I would have.
Could have been shock. Nick Chubb, running back for the Browns, yeah, his leg pretty much came off. I doubt we're going to see him play football again this year, but I don't know. The coach said a significant knee injury, so that probably tells the story right friggin' there. It was an odd football game last night. We can get into it with Randy Shaver and Janel Klein a little bit later. Dick Bremer is going to join us in about a half hour. The boys, the Twins, lost their opener of their series with the Reds there in Cincinnati last night. Joe Ryan got tagged for a couple of dingers. The Reds' rookie pitcher got the better of the Twins lineup. The Correa injury is probably the biggest development from last night's ball game. We'll ask Dick Bremer about that. Carlos was running out for a pop fly in the first inning, and he re-aggravated his plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Issue, I think, is what they call. I don't think it's a significant injury. Dick might have some more information. Game 2 of 3 tonight, 5:40 on Bally Sports. Kenta Maeda's on the hill for the Twins. Rocco and his wife are the proud parents of brand new twin baby boys. They named them Enzo and Big Cass.
Rocco! Oh, no way! And you can't teach that.
No, you can't. Actually, it's Enzo and Nino or Nino. I don't know. They're very Italian, it sounds here. Nino,
I think.
Okay, I'll go with Nino, but maybe
Dick would know, I bet.
Dick will know the end. Rocco might be back with the club tomorrow, but no hurry. Jace Tingler is handling things for now. In a half hour, like I said, Dick Bremer, Randy Shaver, Janel Klein. Josh's news is coming up.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
Regular furnace maintenance can be your wallet's best friend, slashing energy bills and warding off those inconvenient breakdowns that seem to strike at the worst moments. Don't leave it to chance. Schedule your tune-up today at standardheating.com.
It could be information to change your life forever. Or the Something You Should Know podcast could just be something interesting.
My guest is Kim Zachman. She is author of the book There's No Cream in Cream Soda. I don't think I've ever really known the story of why they're called hot dogs.
There is so many legends about the name of the hot dog. When the immigrants came over and they brought all of their sausages, they also brought their dachshunds. It really is because they kind of look like dachshunds.
Something You Should Know, wherever you listen. Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Scary. It's just been really heavy on all of us. This could have happened to any of us.
A California woman had all 4 of her limbs amputated. After she ate some tilapia, which apparently was contaminated with a deadly bacteria.
That is terrible.
Laura, a 40-year-old mother, underwent life-saving surgery Thursday after a months-long stay in the hospital. Friends say she almost died, and things got so bad they had to amputate all of her limbs.
She almost lost her life. She was on a respirator. They put her into a medically induced coma. Her fingers were black. Her feet were black. Her bottom lip was black. She had complete sepsis, and her kidneys were failing. And their whole lives are going to change after this.
Good Lord.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recently issued a warning about a bacterial infection people can get by eating raw or undercooked fish or by exposing an open wound to coastal waters. A friend said the San Jose woman likely got the specific infection after eating undercooked tilapia.
If you have a cut, avoiding getting immersed in water until it's well healed. If you are someone who's immunocompromised, keeping an eye on these things, avoiding those high-risk activities and foods.
She became sick days after eating the fish that she had purchased at a local market in San Jose. According to the CDC, there are roughly 150 to 200 similar cases reported each year. About 1 in 5 of those infected die.
Have you ever heard of anything like that before, Josh?
No. I mean, obviously you've heard, eating undercooked meat can do some damage depending on what it is, but...
She's limbless.
Yeah, nothing left.
Gosh.
I can't even begin to understand what that might be, what that experience would be like, and what the rest of her life is going to be like. Now, tell me if you heard this wacky story. I go on this website, I go on that website for work purposes. Stories pop up. One recently popped up. I didn't click on it. I didn't read any further into it, but the headline kind of grabbed me. Maybe it was total nonsense, but it was something about a kid who maybe died from eating leftover spaghetti that had been in the fridge too long or something.
That's not right.
That's a recycled story. It's been going around, but yeah, it's called like spaghetti something. I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
God dang!
A 78-year-old Florida man's been arrested after authorities said he shot and killed his neighbor for trimming trees over their shared property line. Edward Drezolowski is now facing a charge of second-degree murder in the fatal shooting of 42-year-old Brian Ford. Ford was trimming tree trims along the fence when Drezolowski confronted him about being on his property. He told detectives he threatened to shoot Ford, and when Ford didn't leave, he shot him. The man's wife said Ford got within arm's length of her husband, but Ford didn't have anything in his hands, nor did he threaten her husband. His wife said apparently his wife said she didn't believe there was any threat, yet he shot him dead.
There you go.
Trimming trees, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, dude, this leftover pasta was only 5 days old?
We're talking
from the spaghetti thing that we were talking about?
Spaghetti story.
Only 5 days old?
Yeah,
and the kid...
What do they call it? There was like a name for it. Do you see it in there?
I don't.
Okay.
That's insane. I thought it was going to be like, yeah, he ate spaghetti from like a month ago.
Yeah.
Like, duh.
A road rage incident led to a gun being pulled and someone being stabbed in Alabama Sunday. The ordeal began about 6:30 p.m. after a couple delivering for DoorDash called 911 to report they'd been involved in a road rage incident for several miles. The couple, who had a young child in the car with them, told police a vehicle was tailgating their vehicle on the highway and driving in an aggressive manner. The aggressive driver, a woman, then pulled up next to the couple and began screaming profanities and accusing them of not using their turn signal. She follows the rules of the road. She's very upset. The woman's husband then showed up on a golf cart, and his wife, the aggressive driver, pulled a handgun and pointed it at the DoorDash couple. Her husband then took the gun and pointed it at the couple while screaming profanities himself.
That couple's car then had engine trouble, and that's when that driver inside was assaulted when they couldn't get away.
The confrontation continued. The angry husband approached the couple's vehicle, reached into the window, and began assaulting the driver, repeatedly hitting the man and ripping off his shirt. The driver's wife then pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed the attacker several times to get him to stop attacking her husband.
What in the hell is wrong with us?
After being stabbed, the attacker walked away to the fire station to seek medical help. Can you imagine being that angry where you're just the guy at home and then you show up at a golf cart? These people, it seemed, did absolutely nothing other than maybe not use their turn signal. They're trying to get away from this lady, and she just went nuts. And
that's all
he
it
went
takes.
More nuts.
It's all it takes these days. We're all just waiting for a reason.
Police in Texas arrested a woman after they say she Also, how embarrassing would it be? You've got a gun and you lost the fight to another. Police in Texas arrested a woman after they say she attacked a restaurant manager because her DoorDash order wasn't ready soon enough for her liking.
Next time, think before you do something. This is why restaurants are always short-staffed, because people like that.
On Sunday, about 4:30 p.m., police were sent to a Wingstop in Amarillo to deal with a woman the store wanted trespassed. While on the way, officers were told there was a physical altercation happening with the same woman and staff of the store. Officials say the woman worked as a delivery driver for DoorDash and became upset when her order wasn't ready when she arrived. She entered the kitchen area, and when asked to leave, she went full 2023 on the store manager.
Police say she went into the kitchen, and when asked to leave, she physically attacked the store manager. An off-duty officer stepped in, and the woman also fought the deputy. 33-year-old Whitney Moffitt was arrested and booked for assault and resisting arrest.
The manager tried to escort her out of the store as she continued to attack him, resulting in the off-duty deputy taking action. She also fought the cop.
You got to fight the cop on your way out.
A Dunkin' employee was arrested after Ohio authorities say she assaulted a customer during an argument over sugar. Police said the incident happened Sunday, September 10th, and led to the arrest of 18-year-old Anaya McLean. A customer wanted regular sugar in her coffee, but instead received liquid sugar, and that wouldn't do. When she asked McLean about the sugar, the worker told her, "You need to ask for that." McLean and the customer began arguing. Then McLean came from behind the counter and punched the customer in the eye.
Whoa.
Surveillance footage showed McLean then dragged the customer by her hair behind the counter and continue assaulting her. At least one of the witnesses helped break up that fight. McLean was charged with assault and arrested at the restaurant.
Tuned her up pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
That worker was just done.
Yeah, she was.
That was not the first time that has happened. That kind of argument has happened.
She #couldn't even. Police in South Carolina are investigating a robbery and assault at a Wendy's drive-thru Sunday night, which involved a baseball bat and a broom. According to the Charleston Police Department, officers responded to a Wendy's at 11:53 p.m. in reference to a reported robbery. Initial 911 call stated the incident involved a baseball bat, vandalism, and assault. Upon arrival, CPD observed broken glass and scattered food at the drive-thru window. Witnesses at the scene reported a wrong drive-thru order had escalated into a physical altercation. Incident reports state that while employees worked to issue a refund following the wrong order, a male and female suspect began to yell. The male suspect allegedly exited the vehicle and punched the drive-thru window. Witnesses say the suspect then retrieved a baseball bat and began hitting the window and employees. Video footage captured by an unrelated customer depicted the female suspect swinging an object believed to be a broom through the window. Reports state that at some point during the altercation, the female suspect took money from the cash register.
Makes you wonder, what happened to all these people?
Something.
What happened to... Well,
we got a fight over sugar, our order not being ready on time, about the wrong order at the drive-thru.
Is there one incident from your childhood or whatever that turns you into this type of person? Is it a series of incidents? Is it mental health problems?
Probably a combination. Certainly the latter. Also in South Carolina, a boy didn't just play cops and robbers. He actually pulled people over while claiming he was a real officer after outfitting his Dodge Charger with emergency lights. 911 reported getting a call Saturday about someone wearing black tactical gear and conducting traffic stops. The driver had red and blue light bars mounted inside his car, and they were still activated when he was pulled over by deputies. The sheriff's office said the boy claimed he was with the Clover Police Department or the South Carolina Highway Patrol. He was identified as a juvenile and taken into custody. Other than identifying him as a juvenile boy, police didn't reveal more information. Unfortunately, this type of lunacy happens over and over, but fortunately, at times with satisfying instant karma. On April 3rd, a Michigan teen pretending to be a police officer was busted when he tried to pull over a vehicle and led arresting deputies on 2 separate chases. In a huge boner on his part, after allegedly outfitting his silver BMW with flashing red and blue lights in an attempt to pass himself off as a Detroit cop, he accidentally pulled over a real cop who was off duty.
I love when they do that to themselves.
That's the best.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Self-owning.
Because I just imagine that conversation is just incredible. I wish I could be there for it.
Oh, you're a cop, you say? Interesting. 19-year-old Eric Hardy Jr. and his co-defendant, Jordan Hamilton, went to a home in Georgia to try and get multiple juvenile victims who lived there to join them in a robbery.
Yeah.
When the minors rejected that invitation, prosecutors said the 2 men didn't take that very well. Hardy and Hamilton entered the house with a loaded handgun. But one of the victims pulled out his own handgun, and the 2 groups entered a shootout. Hardy, the only person injured in the shooting, was shot in the face.
It's sad. Running around shooting. I don't know why they were shooting, but, I don't wish that on nobody kids. They be in that situation to get shot any kind of way.
Police say Hardy and Hamilton fled the scene and were confronted by law enforcement at a nearby business. They said the 2 lied about their involvement in the shooting and claimed they were victims of a drive-by. However, the juvenile victim who shot Hardy turned himself in and his handgun to police and fully cooperated with the investigation. Hardy was sentenced to 40 years, for 16 in prison, and the remaining 24 on probation. You don't turn him down when it comes to when he invites you to a robbery.
These were grown folks who went and talked to a couple 14-year-olds about joining them for a robbery.
Yeah, at the time he was 17.
Oh.
Got to start him young.
Teenagers. A 17-year-old boy who disguised himself as an older married woman to rob a Tampa bank was arrested Wednesday. Deputies said the teen walked into a Wells Fargo bank Wednesday, September 6th, and passed a note demanding money, claiming he had a gun. The teen then fled the bank on foot.
And he was doing like a Mrs. Doubtfire bit?
Yeah.
Dressed okay.
It didn't look like he pulled it off very well. You can see the photo on 93x.com.
Oh.
A week after the robbery, deputies arrested him near a public storage unit east of the Wells Fargo. It's not clear what amount, if any, the teen stole from the bank. Today on Paramount Plus, the streaming debut of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Sweet.
I forget. Is that the one you saw twice in theaters?
I ended up seeing it 4 times in the theaters.
It's actually a really good movie. A very, very good movie.
Thank you for vouching for me, Ashley.
Yes, of course.
You saw it 4 times in theaters.
Yeah.
The popcorn's just that good, right? Yeah.
That's impressive.
So was there one incident? Was it a series of incidents?
Is it mental illness?
It's a combination of things, and I'm working through it with my therapist.
My goodness. Happy 41st birthday to Red Hot Chili Pepper superfan Jordan Parisi. Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon, 49. Jeremy Irons, Alfred in the Justice League and Batman vs. Superman, the voice of Scar in The Lion King, and the bad guy in the 3rd Die Hard movie, 75 today. Happy 22nd birthday to Olivia from Mom, I Hate Ketchup Jesus. Happy 29th to Caitlin. Works in the same building as Josh Jesus, texting a birthday shout-out to his badass Bud Reese, turning the big 1-0 today.
Works in the same building as Josh Jesus. Where's our scissor lift?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't this the guy who he texted a week ago and said he could bring us a scissor lift because we want to drive it around town? We haven't heard from you.
He did say that. Come on, man. Scissor me, Daddy.
But yet we got to read all your birthday shout-outs. You don't bring us a scissor lift.
And happy birthday to Punta Gorda Jesus, and that's 93X News.
Minnesota Twins interview on the Half-Assed Morning Show Dylan Cease, making his 31st start of the season, fourth this year against the Minnesota Twins.
Called strike three, a changeup at 69 miles an hour. It felt like he was never going to get there.
All right, let's give a warm welcome to each of our guests who are kind enough to join us here on this here Tuesday morning broadcast of the Half-Ass Morning Show. Randy Shaver, hello, Assman.
Good morning.
Janel Klein, hello, Jupiter Jane.
Good morning.
Sitting over there in her little third-grade chair.
He looks so cute.
Got the tiniest little chair. She's this big, tall drink of water. You look at her right now, she looks like she's waiting for the arithmetic test.
It is
in
funny
third
how
grade.
the first thing you do when you come in is you just lower that thing to the ground.
Coming in from Cincinnati, Ohio, also with a belly full of Skyline chili, it's Twins play-by-play ninja.
I looked at the ingredients of that stuff yesterday again. There's no way I can eat it. I mean, it's not chili. I mean, if it doesn't have kidney beans in it, it's not chili, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I could ever go through with it. I know we've talked about Skyline chili with you before. We've had listeners text in and tell us, how to make it better, how to prepare it to make it more tolerable. Listeners who have spent time in Ohio and whatnot.
Don't they serve it in the press box, Dick?
I don't think so. At least they didn't last night. I haven't been here last time I was here was, 2015, I guess. And I looked for it just to see if I could even stand smelling it. And they didn't have it in the press box.
All right. Maybe not since Blyleven had a bowl full a few years ago. Well, there you go. Thanks for joining us again, Dick. Things didn't play out last night quite the way we would have wanted, but no damage done in the overall, the bigger picture, right?
No, the afternoon game in Kansas City saw the Royals come back and score 4 in the 8th inning. So the magic number went down to 5, and the Reds are playing for their playoff lives right now, and they came out swinging it pretty good. The biggest concern, of course, Carlos Correa left after the first inning when he felt something pop in that left foot that has been plaguing him all year long with the plantar fasciitis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got any word on? I mean, I know it's like you said, he's been playing on it all year. Is this something we should be worried about?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he said he felt something pop when he went back for that little pop fly in the bottom of the first, and the first thing I thought of was a few years ago Nelson Cruz was dealing with a wrist issue, and he felt something pop, and we thought, well, that's the end of the season, and instead all the pain went away in his wrist. I don't know that what the realistic chances are of it actually being a good thing for Carlos, but he was in a lot of pain last night and had to come out of the game.
That's too bad. That's too bad. Well, I guess we'll just cross our fingers on that one and see what the doctors have to say. 7-3, the final last night in Cincinnati. They'll go again tonight at 5:40 on Bally Sports with Kenta Maeda on the hill for the Twins. Joe Ryan got tagged a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, and he issued some walks. He usually doesn't do that. He walked 3 and 2 of them scored, and I think the Twins walked 4 or 5 and 3 of them scored, and so it was not the crispest ball game of the year. But we got to see Royce Lewis hit another home run, and we for years have been saying, boy, if Byron Buxton could just stay healthy, imagine what kind of player he would be. Well, Royce Lewis is that player right now. He's one of the best players in the league. And, we have to remember now he's been playing at third base, but if the Twins get bad news on Correa, Lewis is a shortstop by trade. So it would cause some infield juggling if they have to play out the regular season, the rest of it without Correa in the lineup in the hopes he'd be ready for the playoffs. But they got a pretty good shortstop who's in the lineup already, and he's absolutely tearing up the league in September.
It's absolutely awesome to watch. It is. So in your mind, then let's say that something bad comes out of this Correa thing, then you put Lewis at shortstop. Or do we throw Kyle Farmer in at third base?
Yeah, I would guess so, although Farmer's been given the opportunity to play some at short in Correa's absence, but I think that would be the play. I think Kyle would even tell you that Royce is a little more athletic than he is, and I think we'd have Farmer at third base. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. We're going to wait and see how Carlos feels this morning, and what they give us, what word they give us when we get to the ballpark this afternoon.
It has been a blast watching Lewis do what he does. You know what was new to me last night, Dick Bremer? Lewis hits his home run, and you mentioned the Dr. Evil nickname for Royce Lewis. I mean, I hadn't heard that. Anyone else heard that yet? I hadn't. And do you know the origin of Dr. Evil being his nickname?
Yeah, they have always had rookie dress-up day, and a flight predetermined by the veterans. They hide all the rookies' clothes, and they give them costumes to wear. And Lewis, with the bald head and all that, he's had a little fun with it. He had the Dr. Evil costume in his locker. Eddie Julian had a Canadian Mountie outfit, and he played that up pretty good, too. So Lewis started hitting home runs and doing the thing with the, pinky finger, in the corner of his mouth, the Mike Myers character, and he's had a lot of fun with it. The irony is he's about the nicest guy in the world, but the nickname Dr. Evil is starting to stick a little bit.
Oh, I love it. I love that. And
Frickin' laser beams.
I did see that picture. I should have known the answer to that. I did see the picture, and I think we all talked about it.
We were wondering who Mini-Me was. Dick, do you know who that was? Is that a staffer?
Yeah, it's a guy who does the video replays. He's the advanced scout, and Joey Casey is his name, and he's smaller in stature, and so he got the Mini-Me outfit.
That was great.
That's awesome.
And Julian was absolutely hilarious in that picture as a Canadian Mountie with the pose that he showed.
Yep.
Oh, that was great. All right, well, let's say they would have asked you to join the picture in some kind of a Halloween getup that you would enjoy wearing, Dick Bremer. What if you would have gone with?
Well, my rookie year was way back in 1983. They probably didn't even do it back then. So, yeah, I don't know. Every once in a while, and the Twins haven't had one, teams routinely do this. And every once in a while, there's a player who doesn't want to play along with the gag, and that creates a bit of an issue because the bus isn't going to leave until everybody gets in the gear. And then what they do when we got to Chicago, they took them out to a fancy restaurant, and they're all dressed up in their costumes, getting all sorts of weird looks from the other customers. So it's kind of a fun thing.
Is this the liquor talking, or Randy Shaver, did you go as Austin Powers for Halloween a while back?
Oh, no.
You could pull it off.
Thinking of somebody else.
Wasn't me.
And around that time period, when did that movie come out? 96, 97, something like that?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did everyone go to a Halloween party where there were multiple Dr. Evils and multiple Austin Powers and
sure
whatnot?
Did, yeah.
I remember even going to one party where a dude showed up as Austin Powers, and it was pretty good. And he was getting a little bit of attention. Hey, man, that's really clever. Then another dude showed up as Austin Powers who buried the first guy. And the first guy, he could not get right for the rest of the night. He was just crabby for the rest of the evening that another Austin Powers showed up and just whooped his ass. You know what I mean? The guy just looked so much, and the glasses were perfect, and the teeth and everything.
That sucks.
Okay, the Dr. Evil. I love that nickname. That's great. That's great. So Rocco has a brand new twin babies, Dick Bremer.
Yeah, it happened a couple nights ago. Great relief for Rocco and Allie that everything was fine. It was I don't know how the man managed to focus on his job in Chicago, but he did, and he stayed through Saturday's game, I guess it was, and then he went to O'Hare, got a first flight back on Sunday. And then they had the twins on Sunday night, I believe. So congratulations to them. That's just tremendous, and we're just glad everybody's okay.
Yeah. Enzo, and is it maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't know, Dick Bremer, is it Nino? Enzo and Nino?
Nino, I believe, is how it's spelled. Nino, and a couple of Italian names, and with an Italian last name like Baldelli, I guess that fits. So, they're twins, so I think they were waiting a little bit to determine who was going to be Enzo and who was going to be Nino until they found some, to the extent you can, personality traits and, who looked and sounded more like Enzo and who looked and sounded more like Nino. But when you got twins and they're both the same gender, I hadn't even thought about that. You got to, if you're going to pick out names, you got to try to figure out which one fits that person, even though all they're doing is sleeping and eating and gurgling and whatever little infants do.
That's very interesting. Dick and Randy, you guys are both dads. You think you could have handled the double whammy, 2 at a time?
Oh gosh, maybe back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be tough. One was enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just your world changes, especially when you have your first one, and I think multiples would be you'd be overloaded a little bit. Now there's a big sister in the Baldelli family, so a little bit different. It's not their first time around, but just congratulations. It's just a wonderful pair of additions to the Twins family.
Absolutely. Dick Bremer, I'm one half of a set of twins. I have a twin.
Really? Oh, okay.
I have a twin brother. He's much less attractive than I.
And probably listening this morning, I'm guessing.
Sometimes. This is the story my folks tell. My mother attempted to kill my dad before my brother and I were born by informing my dad that she was pregnant with twins while he was on the top rung of a ladder. Yeah, he had to hang on. He almost came smooth off the damn thing. I thought that was kind of a cheap move on my mom's part to tell him that news when he's vulnerable.
Yeah,
but,
she was planning something or hoping for something.
Get rid of him and date the guy down the street,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. Dick Bremer, I loved your trivia question from last night's game around the 8th inning. Should we try this out on Randy Shaver?
Sure.
Okay. Do you remember it exactly, Dick? You go ahead. You asked LaTroy Hawkins a trivia question last night, and I really dug it. I got half of it. Randy, be listening. Here we go, Dick. What did you ask LaTroy last night?
Well, first of all, I'll give them credit. They put the trivia question up on the big board at the ballpark here, and I happened to glance at it. So I thought it was a pretty good one. There are 4 league MVPs whose last name begins with the letter V.
Mm-hmm. Randy Shaver, 4 league MVPs in the history of the game whose last name started with the letter V. Consider who was playing last night, obviously.
Votto.
Okay, Joey Votto.
Votto, yep.
He gained that with the Reds, 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Joey Votto. Nice one, Randy.
One has a Twins connection.
Yes. Yeah, Janelle, jump in whenever you like.
I was going to say Verlander.
Oh!
Verlander is one of them. That's correct.
Good.
With the was that with the Tigers, Dick?
How about
Yes,
how about Mo Vaughn?
Whoa!
There's another one.
We got 3. 1995 or 6 with the Boston Red Sox, if I'm not mistaken. Mo Vaughn, he was a big dude, wasn't he?
Yeah.
One more, Randy, and it's a local connection.
Local connection.
LaTroy got, a couple, but, this is tough.
I don't. If you weren't alive back then, maybe it's unfair to even ask anybody to get it. LaTroy didn't get it, but vintage Twins fans would get it.
Yeah, 1965, Randy.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of who that could be.
He had one really good year, and unfortunately, his career was pretty much over with. And a lot of people felt that Tony Oliva should have been the MVP in the league that year, but it wasn't. Zoilo Versalles. That's right.
Versalles. Okay.
I love that kind of stuff.
That's good.
That was great. You know what I said out loud when you were live last night with LaTroy Hawkins, Dick Bremer? I hollered out Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh.
That would have been a good one, yeah.
But
I was pitchers. Now, pitchers usually don't win that award because they've got the Cy Young and all that. But Verlander was the exception. He was so dominant and so good that he was the league MVP.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
That is good.
All right, we talked about Royce Lewis already, and it has been a riot watching this kid just tear it up. If not for Royce Lewis and his record-setting amount of Grand Slams and just how terrific a player he is, this year, if nothing else, and hopefully we go on in the playoffs and everything's wonderful, if nothing else, this year will be remembered as the year of the strikeout. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dick Bremer. Twins batters will likely set the big league strikeout the strikeout record before the year is out.
That is correct. The Cubs set the record 3 years ago, I think it was, something like that. and the Twins are on a pace to shatter it. And they also are leading the league in called third strikes. And we've seen a lot more of that this year, too. But then, they've also been walking more, and they're already, they're going to hit 220 home runs or whatever, which is a pretty big number. So it all comes in one big package. It's just some of it isn't as positive as some of the other stuff. And so, the strikeouts are going to come if you try to, hit more home runs. And I hate this phrase, but it is what it is. And the hope will be that come playoff time that, they can cut down on the strikeouts a little bit, because that's a big part of playoff baseball is putting the ball in play and occasionally hitting it over the fence.
Mm-hmm. And also, the Twins' pitching staff will likely, I believe I'm correct about this, they will likely set the team strikeout record, the most ever strikeouts recorded by their pitching staff in a single season.
And the starters have been principally responsible for that, of course. And you've got Pablo Lopez, second in the league in strikeouts. Sonny Gray has picked up quite a few strikeouts, too. And then you've got, pretty good bullpen when it comes to striking out batters, too, with Duran at the end. So, this team is positioned, and I know Twins fans have heard it before, but this team is positioned, I think, to actually possibly make a run in the postseason. Right now, they would be playing either Seattle or Texas, who are tied for a wild card spot, but they're playing each other. Seattle and Texas are playing each other this upcoming weekend and the last weekend of the year. So we might not know who the Twins are going to play in that wild card round until the last day of the season.
That's not what the scouts want to hear, right? To not know what the hell's going on till the.
That's not what the travel directors want to hear either, because they got to get hotel rooms on short notice.
Oh, man. All right, staying with pitching here, just for a minute. I'm not sure what the motivation was for writing this article, but a website called Bleacher Report put together a collection of every big league team's one-year wonder pitcher in recent history. Every big league team's biggest one-year wonder pitcher in recent history. Now, the recent history part, the cutoff here was the 2010 season. So each of these one-year standouts turned in their surprise performance sometime in the last 13 years. Okay. Can Randy Shaver, Dick Bremer, anybody, can you think who this article might have considered the Twins' one-year wonder as far as a pitcher goes in the last 13 years? I'll tell you this much. When I looked it up, I remembered the guy, and I remembered that I saw great potential in him, but it's not the most... Obviously, not a standout name. They came and went quickly.
I would have guessed, based on the setup, maybe Carl Pavano, because he was kind of toward the end of his career, but he had one really good year with the Twins. I think he won 17 games, but it was a younger guy or a less established guy than Pavano, right?
Yes, it was. It was a left-hander, too. I'll give you that much.
Oh.
I'll even give you a little hint, like we're on a game show or something.
Andrew Albers?
That's a good guy. I like that answer. I remember Andrew Albers. Remember he had that great first-ever career start in Kansas City, correct, Dick Bremer?
Right, and then he had like 4 really good ones in a row where he hardly gave up a run, I think.
I'll give you a hint. His last name, how should I say this?
Sparkles?
Sparkle. That's his last name, Sparkles. Dick and Randy.
Oh, I know who it is.
Scott Diamond.
Hey! Yep. That's right. Thank you, Josh. That was
2011, 2010?
2012. Scott Diamond. But Andrew Albers was also a great answer. And I remember Killer Carl Pavano. I once ordered a beer hip-to-hip with Killer Carl at In Cahoots in Hamel. Killer Carl was up there to watch for the Hamel Rodeo Party. Anyway, Scott Diamond. In the year 2012, he started 27 games. He went 12-9. He had a 3.54 I'll get there. 3.54 ERA, 90 strikeouts.
He was good, and then the next year it wasn't the same for him. And that's a really good trivia question and a good answer.
Mm-hmm. It mentions that he was part of a terrific crop of rookie pitchers in the American League during the 2012 season. Yu Darvish. Oh, there was Tommy Malone with the Oakland Athletics, who eventually became a Twin. And some others. Matt Moore from Tampa Bay. But, yeah, he just kind of came and went. I mean, if it was easy to play in the big leagues, we'd all be doing it, right, Dick Bremer?
Right, and you see what the Twins have done this year with their good young rookies, Royce Lewis, Waller, Julian, Louis Varland, still technically a rookie, and the way it looks, he's going to be a big arm out of the bullpen for the Twins come playoff time. And then you look at what the Reds have done. They brought in some veterans at the trade deadline and the waiver deadline, and they've released those guys. They're just going with the young guys surrounding Joey Votto, and it was a big ball game for them last night. We'll see if they can sneak their way into the playoffs.
I've heard that Louis Varland wants out of Minnesota because of an ex-girlfriend.
I think he still feels threatened that I think the payback for breaking up was, a swift kick in the shin?
You should get scared of me.
Listeners were texting in their answer to this one-hit wonder Twins pitcher. And Irvin Santana, he had more than just one good year. I just love saying this name again. R.A. Dickey.
Oh, sure.
the knuckleballer, right? Yeah. Well, one of our listeners, Eastbound at Sundown Jesus, did guess correctly. Scott Diamond. All right, one more note before we get out of here, Dick Bremer. More of a general baseball note, not necessarily doing with the Twins. The Tampa Bay Rays are going to up and make an announcement today regarding a deal to construct a new ballpark in St. Petersburg. The current one, I guess, is that awful, huh?
It's pretty bad, yeah. And the word I got, because they were just at Target Field recently, they're talking about having it in St. Petersburg, adjacent to Tropicana Field, and there's, I think, already some concern about the ballpark being in St. Petersburg, where in those twin cities, most of the money is in Tampa. So it sounds like it's going to be about a 30,000-seat ballpark. It solves one of baseball's problems. The other one is apparently going to get resolved with the Athletics moving to Las Vegas, and then we'll have a new landscape in baseball.
Yeah, they say here in the story the Tropicana Field is outdated and unpleasant in terms of fan experience.
The one thing, for the longest time, the Twins were at the Metrodome and the Rays were in their dome ballpark. And the one thing I will say about Tropicana Field, unlike the Metrodome, where every seat in the building was laid out for football, Tropicana Field, at least the seats, are angled toward the infield, and it was meant for baseball only. And we never had that at the Metrodome, and fans can remember what it was like if you were beyond first or third base at the Metrodome. You got a sore neck, craning your neck, twisting it to look toward home plate.
I'll tell you what, that is the absolute truth. Me and a buddy went in on season tickets, 2005, 6, something like that. We went on season tickets for a couple of years, and absolutely my neck and back hurt after 5, 6 innings every game. That's why I drank so much damn beer.
That's why.
I wonder how many baseballs they're going to dig out of the catwalks at that Tropicana Field when they.
One hit up there within the last week. Somebody hit one of the rings, the C ring or whatever, and it was ruled then as a home run, even though the ball ended up landing in short left field, I think. So Miguel Sano hit one there that probably just be landing about now. He hit, I think, the longest home run I've ever seen hit, and it hit the wrong ring above the playing field, and I think he ended up with a single, and he may have hit it 500 feet.
I remember that. That's great. Oh, man. Randy Shaver, you ever make a trip to the Trop?
I don't think I have, no.
Oh, boy.
Is the King Dome similar?
The King Dome.
That was awful.
I remember that place always just looked so... It looks so dark in the King Dome. Maybe because no one was there. I don't know. When I was a kid, the King Dome always looked so dark compared to...
Not a pleasant experience.
Well, there you go. Dick, we appreciate it. As always, we'll be watching tonight, 5:40 on Bally Sports, Game 2 of the Twins-Red series. And like you were talking about last night, I sure hope when the moment comes, the boys can clinch this division on the field as opposed to you were talking about the possibility of an off day.
Yeah, I mean, the Guardians play Thursday night, and the Twins have off. And it's not the same when you clinch and you're not with your teammates. It's one thing to have to wait for a West Coast game, and at least you're in the clubhouse with your teammates and you can celebrate still. That's fine. The ideal thing is, somebody catching a pop-up or striking out or getting a base hit, and you go in that way. But when you're, pushing your stroller through the Mall of America and you find out the Guardians lost, that's not quite the same thing.
No, not at all. So hopefully we can get lucky there. Thanks again, Dick Bremer.
All right, we'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Dick joins us every Tuesday on the Half-Fast Morning Show, and we're damn proud of it. Oh, Randy Shaver, Janel Klein. Here we go. We continue on here with some unfortunate news.
Yes.
Henry Boucher has died.
Yes, he has.
At only 72 years old. I don't have a cause of death on Henry Boucher. If you're a younger person and you don't know, Henry was simply one of the greatest to ever lace him up from around these parts. One of the greatest hockey players Minnesota's ever seen. A legend in War Road. A legend in War Road. A legend everywhere, but
legend
specifically
in Minnesota,
but specifically in War Road, where he... Yes. The story is more or less single-handedly brought War Road to the 1969 state championship game, played in the Olympics, played in the NHL, had a promising career ahead of him that was sidetracked by a terrible injury.
Yeah. Not his fault.
No, took a butt end.
Stick.
This was when he played, where did he start in the NHL?
I think
Detroit. Started in Detroit, ended up playing for the North Stars. And this was, mid-70s. Henry Boucher at Met Center, if I'm not mistaken.
Dave Forbes.
Yep. Of, I think, the Boston Bruins?
That's correct.
Butt ends Henry in the eye with his stick.
Yeah, as they're leaving the penalty box.
And the eye injury was enough to sidetrack the rest of his career.
Yeah.
This Dave Forbes was charged with aggravated assault. Trial ended in a hung jury. It went to trial.
Jeez.
Henry did win a $1 million settlement against Forbes, but his career was never the same.
No.
Played for the Fighting Saints in the WHA. Did play a little bit more time in the NHL in the later 70s. And he went through some things. He had problems with booze. But one of the all-time greats. If you talk about the greatest players ever born in Minnesota, you're always going to hear guys talk about Henry Boucher, and for good reason. John Mayasich, Henry Boucher, Neil Broughton, guys like that.
Right. I mean, his state tournament appearance is still talked about,
Mm-hmm.
He scored 60 goals as a senior in high school from the defense position, which is amazing.
Wow. That's men playing with boys, and don't get cute with that. You know what I mean.
But I mean, he's a legend in Minnesota hockey. There's just no doubt, and very sad this morning that he's gone. I know that when I saw it on social media last night, it was like an avalanche of people putting thoughts and prayers and information out there about Henry Boucher when they met him, when they saw him. Because that's the kind of icon he was. You remember where you were or how old you were when you saw him play, especially all the folks who saw him play in the 69 state tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to hear that too.
My dad still talks about Henry
Yep.
Boucher. My dad always has talked about Henry Boucher. What I'll always remember is the headband.
Yes.
He wore a headband on the ice, and I believe it was in tribute to his Native American heritage. He was a Ojibwe Indian.
Yep.
I think that's why he wore. But anyway, he just looked so cool out there with the hair and the headband. And I was lucky enough to meet him a number of years ago. It was really, I had no idea. It was a Sunday afternoon. I went into the American Legion in Wayzata to do what I do, Janelle, on Sundays, which is get inebriated and watch baseball or football on television. And Henry Boucher was there he wrote a book. Maybe someone can look this up. This has got to be 10 years ago. He wrote a book about his life, if I'm not mistaken, and he was there to talk about it and maybe sell a couple books along the way. But there he was in the crowd of 25, 30 people, and he was very, very friendly and very patient. Very patient. Because you know how it gets. There were some morons there that would not leave him alone.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
I couldn't believe he didn't stand up and slap a few people just because they would not leave him alone. Henry Boucher just ended up at my neighborhood bar, and it was a hell of a thrill.
That's so cool.
I called my old man on the phone. I didn't go as far as to say, "Here, Henry, talk to my dad on the phone." I didn't go that far. But I just called my dad. I said, "Henry Boucher's sitting 4 stools down from me."
Yeah, he wrote a book. You can get it on Amazon for $9.99.
Well, there you go. I don't know why I never pulled
What's it called? It is called Henry Boucher, Ojibwe, Native American, and Olympian.
I'm very sorry, and our condolences to his friends and family, because that's that's a hell of a deal. Now, as we move on, I've got a dark, damn old hockey story for you. Since we're talking about hockey from the old days, I got a dark old hockey story for you, but it's dark, it's old, but it's damned entertaining. I've never heard this old NHL story before. It's about an NHL player's dad who took a TV station hostage because he couldn't watch his son play on television. You ever have that problem over at KARE 11, Janelle? Anyone?
I don't think any hostage situations.
You ever had a weirdo come to the door and demand this or that?
Oh, all the time.
Yes.
Bring back Cheers.
Yeah.
I mean, the bring back Cheers thing back then, that was lighthearted, right? There was nothing...
Yeah. I mean, there's people that were very serious about it, but yeah.
Did you have any... So, weirdos have come to the door? What have they wanted in the past?
Oh, God.
Belinda.
Oh, no.
For us to give them Belinda.
Give us the weather one. I mean, I've known a couple of hockey dads who took their overrated son's hockey career way too seriously, but nothing like this. I'll do my best to make this as brief as possible. The NHL player's name was Brian Spencer from back in the late 60s, early 70s. I never heard of the guy. He was never a household name, obviously, during his NHL career. He grew up in a small town in British Columbia, dreamed of being a pro hockey player. So did his dad, Roy. Roy badly wanted Brian to become and then he was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 5th round of the 1969 NHL draft. Must have been a hell of a thrill, right? And then comes a day, December 12th, 1970. This was when all hell broke loose. The Maple Leafs, with Brian Spencer, were set to play the Chicago Blackhawks, and the game was going to be part of Hockey Night in Canada, which is a big deal. Still is in Canada.
Yes.
Saturday night, I believe, is Hockey Night in Canada, and especially in 19F and 70, there's nothing else to do in Canada on a Saturday night than watch the game, so this was a massive deal. Prior to the game, Brian Spencer finds out he's going to be interviewed in between periods of this hockey game on Hockey Night in Canada. He calls and tells his dad, Roy, in the little small town there in British Columbia, "Dad, I'm going to be on tele for Hockey Night." Roy was pumped. He went out and bought a new television antenna to ensure he'd be able to pick up the signal for Hockey Night in Canada. He invited friends and family to come over. Things didn't go as planned. That night, the Vancouver Canucks were also facing off against the California Golden Seals that same night. And the closest television affiliate, a station called CKPG, opted to broadcast that game instead of the Leafs and Hawks, with Brian Spencer doing a in-between interview. That did not sit well with the old man, Roy. Now, apparently Roy was a little bit of a booze hound. He was drunk when he hopped into his vehicle and drove 100 miles to the news station with a shotgun.
Oh, my gosh.
He stormed into the newsroom and took a number of people hostage.
Jesus.
And demanded they put the Leafs-Hawks game with his son on television. The station wasn't able to control the feeds they were receiving. They had to that they were receiving, sorry. They had to inform the guy, there's no way we can do that. So he ordered the station director to cut the feed to the Canucks game, and then he leaves. Well, by the time he leaves the television station, the Royal Canadian Mountain Police are all hanging out in the parking lot. Wait, they know there's a hostage situation going on in the friggin' television newsroom. They tell him to drop his weapon. He refuses. He shoots a cop in the foot, and the police shot him dead.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no.
I'd never heard that before.
That's crazy.
His poor son.
Well, did the kids' team win the game at least?
Let's see here. I might have that information. Well, the story is, the tale, the legend, is that his son was interviewed, but the dad never got to see it because he's laying dead in a news station parking lot.
Awful.
That's heartbreaking.
And then the story of the player.
It gets worse.
The story of the player does not end well.
Oh, no.
Now, I think, see if I have this right. Spencer lasted in the NHL until 1978. He moved to Florida, got a job as a mechanic. In 1988, he faced the death penalty after being tried for the murder of a bartender.
Oh, my God.
He was ultimately acquitted, but he was shot and killed in a robbery following a drug deal in 1988. Is that the most incredible effing story you've heard in a long time?
Yeah, awful.
Shot his old man dead in a damn parking lot. Weird game last night between the Browns and the Steelers.
Oh.
The very first play from scrimmage was an interception return for a touchdown. There was a play later in the first quarter that featured 3 fumbles on one play. Cleveland's best running back had a leg come off.
Oh, my God.
That was great.
Here's Chubb trying to pick his way inside the 5, and he does. And the last thing any Browns fan wants to see, Nick Chubb holding his left leg.
Oh, boy.
I am told that the replay of Nick Chubb getting injured is not to be seen.
Yeah, we're not going to show it. It's as bad as you can imagine.
They just showed it on the big screen here in Pittsburgh, and the crowd gasped.
That was rough.
Yeah. It was awful.
Mm-hmm. What happened? Could you tell? I mean, I know they didn't show it on the replay, but what happened?
The leg went a different direction than it normally would ever go.
Then the rest of his body did.
No.
You can find it if you're interested.
Really?
Yeah,
no, I
it's
don't
pretty
want to see
easy to
that.
find.
The leg bent
No, you
the
don't.
wrong way.
Oh,
you don't
no.
want to see it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
He's done,
Sideways.
right? Nick
He's
Chubb's
done.
got to be
Yeah,
done.
They just came out this morning and said he's done for the season.
Did they say what exactly happened to his knee? Did he,
Everything
what
got
he tore?
torn.
Really? Okay.
Everything. Yeah.
See, that's crappy. Last night when me and my boyfriend were talking about it, he was like, gosh, he probably tore everything. His ALC is this. And then like 2 minutes later, the guy on TV was like, yep, I bet he tore the same exact things. I was like, geez, all in one.
ACL, MCL, the
Everything.
ABC, BBD.
Basically.
OPP.
Yeah. The LBC. It's Long Beach Compton, I think, Janelle.
There's people on social media were saying Monday Night Football is cursed because the last 3 games,
Oh, yeah.
you get Chubb. Before that, Rodgers tears his ACL.
Right. Oh, sure.
Right.
And then before that, DeMar Hamlin friggin' dies on the field.
Oh, my gosh.
That's creepy.
And then the other Monday night game, didn't some dude get carted off, like a linebacker or something?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I got to look that up.
I think the Steelers won last night over the
They
Browns.
They did.
Oh, yeah, somebody was injured. I believe it was their running back, Steelers running back.
Now, this was, like I said, a weird game. Did anyone else see? I didn't watch much of the game, but I saw some highlights. Did you see this? The Steelers kick returner caught a bad kick inbounds. The ball's going. It's obviously going out of bounds. This kind of reminded me of the pitcher earlier this year, Josh, who fielded a comebacker and then forgot he had to throw it to first.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what. Did anyone else see the kick returner?
I did not.
Yes.
Okay. The kick by the Browns is obviously going out of bounds. If he lets it go out of bounds, I think the rule is Pittsburgh gets the ball on the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
But on the 9-yard line, he makes a tiptoe catch like he was receiving a pass and keeping his feet in bounds. And then his momentum carries him out of bounds.
Right.
So now the Steelers get the ball at the 9.
Right.
But it seemed, if you watch the video, he seemed to be kind of arguing something. Like, hey, I made that catch in bounds. Like he forgot he was a kick returner and not a wide receiver. You have to see it to... Someone explain to me what he's arguing. At first he's thinking, no, I caught that. I was in bounds. Huh. And the referee says, well, yeah, congratulations. You get the ball at the 9. What the hell are you thinking?
Man, weird.
You know? I don't know. It was very strange. You don't see things like that very often.
So it was what I was thinking of is the Panthers linebacker. He might have ended his season with an ankle injury. So that's why folks online are saying Monday Night Football is cursed.
And they're going to do a doubleheader again next Monday.
Yeah, that's the plan now, right?
Why do they keep doing that? I don't know if I like that.
I had read it was something to do with the writers' strike. So ABC needs something to run, and so they're putting football on ABC.
Oh, man.
Well, they're making it hard for me. I don't like it.
Let me throw some more of this type of stuff at you, Randy Shaver. Even though last time I brought it up, you and Brad Ryder were very adamant against it. Let's see here. A television host in New York by the name of Mike Greenberg wants his favorite football club, the New York Jets, to beg the Vikings for Kirk Cousins.
This kid is not an NFL quarterback. They're not playing with an NFL quarterback on the field. And you cannot do that against a good defense or a bad defense. They're scared to let him do absolutely anything, and they should be. Aaron Rodgers going down ended their season unless they get another legitimate option. Call the Vikings and beg them to trade you Kirk Cousins or someone else, because I hate to say it. It's the opposite of what I've been suggesting the fans need to say, but I have to tell the truth. They coach like they know he can't play.
I've seen a couple more articles writing about this trade between the Vikings and Jets for Kirk Cousins.
It does seem to keep popping up.
Former NFL tight end and now television personality Shannon Sharp, he doesn't think much of the MILF man's abilities. He says Zach Wilson couldn't play dead in a horror movie.
You're not going to win with him. I mean, the dude couldn't play dead in a horror movie. I mean, I've seen all of the Friday 13th. I've seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Freddy Krueger.
I saw.
Can't play dead in a horror movie. That's a beautiful line.
I've seen them all. And at some point in time, you've got to come to the realization, here's what he is. Zach Wilson has to play. And Greeny is absolutely right. They know he can't play. He can't convince anybody in that locker room because they saw him for an extended period of time last year, and he can't play.
Ugh,
Janel,
sounds like such a bully.
Janel, why are so many people going after the MILF man when he's so cute?
I mean, I think he's a pretty cute little guy.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for him.
Yeah.
He's a cute little character.
I mean, he's no Joe Burrow, but, you know.
So the Buffalo...
Jimmy Garoppolo is the best looking quarterback in the history of the NFL, not just even current.
In the history now.
Door Hauling Jesus says, well, of course a writer's strike would cause issues for the NFL. I do love those commercials. They're so good.
So we mentioned the Tampa Bay Devil Ray are building a new ballpark. The Buffalo Bills are building a new ballpark. From what I understand, they're just starting up with, they're laying down foundations, they're digging trenches and whatnot. They're just getting started on the joint. When it's all done, they should name it after this effing guy. The cops in Buffalo found a naked 29-year-old guy stuck in a hole at the site of the new ballpark.
And drugs and alcohol were a factor.
This is before their game Sunday at home against whoever they played on Sunday. They found this guy in a hole. He's nude. He's 29.
Why does he have to be nude?
I don't know.
It always is an extra level of crazy.
Well, here's an idea as to why he was nude, Randy Shaver. Word is the guy was all tuned up on, he had some joint sticks in him. He had smoked some joint sticks and also some LSD and also some cocaine.
Whoa. Party.
He's really pre-gaming for this tailgating.
Whoa.
He got rid of his clothes for some reason. He scaled a fence surrounding the new stadium, then he got stuck in a hole Summers. He was found naked and covered in chemicals from a porta potty.
Yeah, he had feces on him, they said.
He had feces on him.
Yes. Feces.
And he ate it. He was eating it.
Stop it. Stop it.
Remember that episode?
Show me Nick Chubb's injury.
This hole was 30 to 40 feet deep.
Oh, my God.
You know how many dogs Wobble's dad and him could bury in a hole 30 to... Covered in feces and porta potty with
Did
blue
he pull
liquid.
the porta potty down with him?
I think he was... Remember the old... What was that old... He started in the porta potty. He took a little bath in the porta potty.
God.
He's splashing around in the feces in the porta potty.
God.
And then he fell down in the 30-foot hole. He was nude.
Couldn't get out.
Remember when I found that we were at that Vikings tailgate event years ago, Josh? Before a Vikings game, we were tailgating. And I said, I got to hit the head. And I opened the door of the Biffy, and there was a baby deer down in the bottom of the porta potty.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the story I told you about how a lady got tipped over in one when I was at a football game?
Yes.
I'd kill somebody dead.
I wouldn't find that funny.
Everyone would die.
I just asked my aunt and uncle about it. I was like 7 years old, and my cousin was playing football at North Dakota State in Fargo, and I still remember it. It's my most traumatic childhood memory.
They tipped the lady over, and she was just coated and everything.
Wow, I just remember hearing her scream, but there were like 5 drunk guys that rushed it and tipped it over.
No, that's how you get killed.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know why. Why
I'd
would
chase you through the street. I would
Because you're
chase
an
you with
idiot.
a chainsaw if you did that to me. You would be chainsaw.
I've seen people shake it, right, to be funny, but luckily never push anybody over.
Yeah, there was a baby deer down in the bucket.
How
and
did that?
I don't know. I don't know who puts a baby deer in the porta potty.
So then what?
We got him out of there. and set
Shut
him-
up! You pulled him out.
We pulled him out. We had a series of ropes, and we got him out of there.
Poop Pumping Jesus says, I clean porta potties. Tip overs are not fun. There was a work event we had where a co-worker's dad kept doing that to people in the porta potty until he got yelled at and warned that he'd have to leave.
What do you mean, shaking it?
Shaking the, I'm sorry, I should have been more specific.
Oh, no.
Shaking the porta potty when people went in there. This is a grown man
I remember
at a work
that.
event.
That was so embarrassing.
Weird. Why was
I
he
felt
being
bad
like
for
The
that?
his
guy's
son.
dad was as odd a character as I've ever met in my life. There was some really...
Was he drunk?
He was just...
He did appear to be drunk.
This guy did not need beer or drugs to make him...
was different.
He was different as a son of a bitch, and that was so embarrassing. He was like 60 years old over there. Shaking porta potties. What's the matter with you?
And he's a really big dude, and he was running around like threatening to beat people up and then saying, I'm just kidding, man. Again, this is a work event.
Why was the dad there?
Good question.
Maybe the kid was scared to say no. I don't know.
Good question. And then we found a baby koala in the...
We didn't know what to do. We just cover it with toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That's the end of that, Randy. You're off the hook for today, son.
On that note.
Yeah. on porta potty fun. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Randy.
Sounds good.
Don't go nowhere. Jungle Jane's going to come back with us here in a few minutes.
There's a douchiness to them.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
Regular furnace maintenance can be your wallet's best friend, slashing energy bills and warding off those inconvenient breakdowns that seem to strike at the worst moments. Don't leave it to chance. Schedule your tune-up today at standardheating.com.
Introducing Rich Valdez, America at Night, the podcast.
Welcome to the Conversation Familia.
A perfect blend of news and entertainment, interviews and insights.
Eye-opening, nothing very surprising, but definitely eye-opening.
America's nighttime town hall whenever you want.
What else could it possibly mean?
Rich Valdez, America at Night.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes of it.
Follow the podcast wherever you listen.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, by damn. 8:32 already. We'll be out of here in no time. It's a beautiful thing. Here we are with Janel Klein in studio. It's always a hell of a deal when the Norwegian ox comes rambling in. Hello, Janel.
Hello.
Things good? You doing all right?
Things are great, yeah.
That's good to hear. Things aren't so good on this side.
Really?
Things are miserable for Josh and I. Let's talk about this after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, things have been miserable.
I'm sorry.
Here's where we're going to go next. Anyone out there in our listening audience, I'm curious. Anyone out there in our listening audience, you ever work with a legitimately frightening individual, violent, criminal, creepy, scary type?
We certainly have.
Josh, can you think of one that truly stands out from our time here?
Only the guy that made the national media for extorting nude pictures from young ladies.
What?
Wonderful.
Whoa.
You
Really?
remember that one?
That's awful.
Of course I do.
One of the first big stories like that.
It was just so terrible.
It was awful.
Did you guys suspect that he was creepy?
Didn't know him at all, really.
Oh, okay.
I can't say I knew him real well. He seemed all right.
Yeah.
I probably had maybe 1 or 2 very brief conversations with the man up until this story broke. That he was swindling naked pictures from, I don't know, were they underage girls?
I was scared to say. I thought some of them were, but I don't know that for sure.
It was shady internet underwear and
shady.
naked picture stuff.
And like blackmail and all kinds of
Is he in jail?
Don't know.
I think he did some. I don't remember all the specifics. This was a really long time ago.
Yes.
He certainly got in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And I think like that case helped police form some laws, or lawmakers.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, the guy who was a social media creep. We had the gal who beat up her boyfriend or something. That was actually kind of humorous. There was the guy who wore tight-fitting swim trunks to work and carried around an encyclopedia of porn movies.
Yeah, watched him masturbate once, unfortunately.
No.
Let me rephrase that. Caught him masturbating.
Yeah, that does matter.
And then immediately left the room.
Yes.
Was he using his own porn index, or was he trying to get some new material?
What?
You said that he walked around with a porn collection?
An encyclopedia, and I'm being as literal as possible. He carried around an encyclopedia of porno movies, so he could open it up and say, yeah, that movie came out in 1976.
Oh my God.
I was being literal with that.
I thought he had like a porn collection with him.
No, and various other delusional psychopaths here in the 26, 7, 8 years, however long Josh and I have been here. What about the rest of you before you came here? You ever work with someone who really was like a frightening individual, and did they do something or get caught with something?
I worked with one guy, him and his girlfriend, actually at the time, really long time ago. And they were really nice, and they seemed in love. And then I found out a couple years later that he was like a huge abusive, physical, and mentally just a piece of crap.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. But looking back, it kind of makes sense.
There were some signs?
Yeah, he had like a very short temper.
Yeah, we definitely worked with a lot of people with short tempers. There's one guy that everyone was afraid was going to come in and murder everyone. But, you know, he never did.
Janelle, I imagine. No, he never did.
Which is a plus.
Yeah, that's good.
Good on him.
And you know what? You know, there would have been 2 guys in this building who would have been safe, and that's me and my boy Nick.
Dude, smart.
I think we would have been the only 2 people safe in this building because we got along with them.
We were the only guys he liked. What in the hell was that?
That was fun.
Should I get that?
Janelle,
like
I
in my
imagine
brain.
you probably, this is just my guess.
Yeah.
You probably can't think of anyone who was a dangerous psychopath in the television news world because you actually have to earn your way into that kind of a job as opposed to radio where they let anybody, what did that guy say last Friday on the air? Anyone who can fog a piece of glass?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong, Janel Klein?
I wouldn't say anyone that I was scared of or thought was criminal, but a lot of weirdos.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Is it behind the scenes people?
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
Okay, so not necessarily the on-screen people, the behind-the-scenes people.
Yeah. Like just some odd characters.
I can believe that because maybe they dreamed one day of television stardom and didn't quite reach it, and that thorn is still in their side and it leads them. That's just a theory of mine.
Yeah.
I remember Randy always saying that it's like the land of misfit toys over at KARE 11.
I've always said that, you know, if we're ever short on programming, they should just put up a camera in the newsroom because there's plenty of entertainment. Like you just look around and you go, what is going on?
Okay.
A friend of mine worked with what turned into be a triple murderer, which was a bit disturbing.
Really?
And it's actually a kid that I knew very well, this particular person. Who
Did
went on
you
to do that.
suspect something?
No. Well, I mean, the family was, you know, I don't want to say odd, but different.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, we've talked about it off the air.
Oh, I do remember
Yes,
you
you know
telling me
what I'm
that.
talking
Yes. Okay.
Well, this was a what?
I was just going to ask Janelle, do they ever do those shots at KARE 11 where there's like the reporter in the front, like in a different room, and then behind him you see the the newsroom behind
Yes.
it.
Oh, yeah, people like
everyone-
typing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would hate to be that person just sitting there typing. Oh, great. Now they're doing another report.
Yeah.
There's my stupid face.
My
again.
desk used to be right behind that, and of course I was always oblivious. And then afterwards would think, God, what did I do?
Janelle's picking her nose.
Yes, there's always.
I mean, is there like a light or a notification? I mean, you know what time the news airs, but
You
do they
do,
have?
but sometimes you have headphones on, or you're typing, or you're rushing to do stuff and get things done, and you're not paying attention. And
Wapple stands up, adjusting his balls.
He's doing the Happy Gilmore humping with everything. The golf club, the hockey stick.
Tomorrow a stapler.
That'd be fun. I tuned in for that.
Well, this conversation was had online. People talking about horrifying things people found out about their coworkers. Working with a real creep. I apologize if I'm a little sloppy here, but the editing was done as best I could. Sharing stories about horrifying things people found out about their coworkers. Went and visited an escort during a work trip. Didn't attend any of the very important meetings. Submitted an expense report asking to be reimbursed for the entertainment.
That reminds me of the early days of radio, doesn't it, for you, Noonan?
Oh, God. People wanted to be reimbursed for every move they made? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I mean, they'd spend a day and a half at a strip club and go, don't worry, we can expense this.
Did it work?
As far as I know.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
my God.
Those were the days.
Write it off. Write it off.
And by that,
write
I
it
mean,
off.
in bad ways.
In
many bad ways.
yeah.
Here's a guy who missed work unexpectedly. The next morning, the FBI showed up and went through his desk. They only found a Post-it note that said, "Too slow, FBI," with a smiley face on it.
Oh my God.
That just made me realize I forgot about like the most important story I probably have about working with somebody that got in trouble. I worked at like a very fancy restaurant for a while, and the SWAT team showed up one afternoon. Like
Where was this
now? It was like a fancier restaurant.
The SWAT team.
Yep. So it's like an upscale area. There's you have to be a member at this place to be able to eat here. And yeah, SWAT team shows up. He robbed a bank like three blocks down the road and just went to work, like went on with his normal life. And the only disguise he used to hide who he was a pair of sunglasses.
This is a place you were working at the time?
Yep, I completely forgot about this. Yeah, it was insane. He was one of the cooks in the back.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought.
Wait a minute, Wapple, weren't you a cook?
I was.
He was such a normal guy. I think it was something sad that he needed the money for, but yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I guess now that you brought that up, we had the cops come in the kitchen one time looking for someone, and I never saw him again.
The cops or the someone they were looking for?
The someone. Yeah.
All right, some more stories here of horrifying coworkers, or at least, somewhat shady. No, this is pretty bad. Dude quit. Next thing you know, cops showed up at the building asking about the guy. Wanted to know where he was. Where's this guy? Well, he quit. Apparently, the reason the cops were asking was this man apparently had been trying to kill his wife by putting rat poison in her coffee.
Oh, God.
Dude threatened to stab a coworker. He was fired immediately. Then he stabbed someone else 2 days later.
I mean, I like the follow through. You don't get that a lot at work anymore.
Yeah, true. Very stabby.
People say they're going to do something and they just don't do it.
Former manager. Oh, wow. My former manager. He would leave for days for what we assumed was to take care of his wife who had cancer. Turns out the reason he was leaving for days is because he was cheating on his wife with an escort. His wife was bedridden in the last stages of cancer at the time.
Oh, my God. That's messed up.
Oh, boy.
I don't even know what to make of this. A gal came into work with cat testicles floating in a baby food jar?
Show and tell?
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, she had neutered her cat at home and brought her cat's balls into work. She used to work at a vet clinic and had seen it done. I don't know what it means. Cutting off cat testicles? Or
Yeah,
just
neutering the cat.
Okay, she had worked at a vet clinic. She knew how to neuter a cat. So she neutered her cat at home and brought the balls into work. I don't know what the hell what were they floating in? I don't know. Syrup?
An at-home neutering. I'll pass.
How about one of these creepy bastards who abducts people? A few young girls in my small town started to go missing or turn up dead on the side of the road. Dude, it was my creepy coworker who was doing it. I remember when the first girl went missing, it was a big deal. He talked to me about how, there's a lot of unwell people out there and you just never know. Well, yeah. You do. You do never know because you're the one who's doing it.
I guess that's crazy to think about. I mean, every notorious serial killer had coworkers, had neighbors.
Some of it's kind of comical here in this conversation about creepy, shady coworkers that may or may not have done terrible things. Here's a guy who shot himself practicing a quick draw. Right?
That'd be pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, I've had plenty of coworkers that I could see that happening too.
Guy shot himself practicing a quick draw, and then he shot himself again, demonstrating how he shot himself the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Because that comes up so often. You're always in a duel. Always.
We get this kind of a story once in a while, don't we, Cubby?
Disgusting.
A gal faked cancer and scammed her coworkers out of $100,000.
Ugh, man.
She's in prison. All right, one more, then we got to take a break. We got to take a break after this next one.
Well, do you mind if I get to a text real quick?
I would love a text.
IT miracle worker Jesus said of the home neutering. He says to me, "You've already been the victim of an at-home neutering in your marriage, I guess."
Some of these stories are very elaborate. One foggy winter morning, a guy died on a highway, and my coworker ran over a significant portion of what was left of the guy.
No.
He thought he had hit roadkill or something. And he was so close to work, his car felt operational, so he just kept going. The cops came in a couple hours into his shift, and he left with them. They took his car, and they imagined probably for evidence. This man, died or was killed on the roadway.
Sad.
Maybe some of the parts that got caught up in this guy's car could be used for evidence. Yeah, we've had some characters around here.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yep, Janel Klein's here with the Half-Assed Morning Show.
There she is.
So our program and its wonderful listening audience and random folks on the godless internet are sharing their stories of shady, dangerous coworkers we've crossed paths with over the years. I mean, it happens. You don't always know who you're dealing with. Some folks put on a good show. You think they're normal for a while, and by God, then they spring something on you, or you find something out.
Yeah, those are the worst ones, right?
Jesus, if we had a dime, and I'm not talking about criminal, but if you and I, Josh, had a dime for everyone in this business who we thought for a brief period of time, you know what, they're all right, and then found out they were absolute lunatic, self-serving, delusional scumbags, we wouldn't have to be sitting here right now.
We have been tricked many a time. Maybe we're gullible. I don't know.
I always wonder if is it like the media people, like radio, TV. I think it attracts lunatics,
Bingo.
right? Because I never hear my friends who are like teachers or accountants say, "Oh, I have all these weird coworkers." I don't think it happens elsewhere.
I think you're onto something, Jungle.
That's
as
really
much.
true,
Exactly. That's the way to put it. Doesn't happen as much in other professions. I really believe that.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with people before and mentioned that Josh has caught someone masturbating here twice, right?
2 people masturbating.
2 people.
Yeah.
And it's funny watching them just they're just bewildered. They're like, that happens? Like, that's work. And me, just because from hearing the stories from you guys, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's normal.
I've caught 2. I have never yet been caught myself.
No.
You're sneaky. You're good. 'Cause I've been trying to catch you, Josh, but you're good.
You're not going to catch me because I'm an expert on catching others, so I know the telltale signs.
And the truth about the 2 masturbators that Josh caught here in this build, the second one, you kind of coerced the guy into it.
Yeah, I bet him, and I also challenged him, saying, "You're too chicken to masturbate in the chair Wapple's sitting in right now."
Right.
Which is true, Wapple. That's the chair he was sitting in.
Now, yes, Josh, you sounded like you were taking a breath for a text message.
Yes, Runs in the Dark Jesus said, probably 10 years ago, my wife worked at a store, and an older guy she worked with was caught putting his own cream in another woman's coffee regularly.
Don't do that.
As well as on her scrunchies.
Nope, murder.
He said he's in prison now.
Scrunchies.
How? Why? Like,
Yes.
How do you get there?
I wouldn't be able to show up at work anymore if I was that woman either.
What's the first
People
sign?
know.
Seeing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie 4 times in theaters? Like Dana did? Is that the first sign that you might have somebody masturbating at work?
Hey, I'm in my own studio right now. You guys have no idea what I'm doing.
Our listeners have had some adventures. Here are some text messages from our glorious listening audience. I worked with a guy, says a listener, who was peeing in a waitress's water bottle because she wouldn't be his girlfriend.
Unreal.
A guy that I worked with got arrested for building bombs in his house.
Boy, along those lines, saw a mugshot of an ex-coworker, this text says, who threatened to blow up a McDonald's because he hit a pothole in their drive-thru.
I used to work with a guy who went home one day and shot his wife.
Oof.
No.
Yikes. That's dark.
Yep.
I didn't work with this person, but I was asked to check out a place in Florida for pig hunting. My girl and myself went out pig hunting with the guy and his wife, had supper at their place, spent the night. A month later, they found out the guy had shot his stepdaughter in the back of the head and fed her corpse to the pigs.
Oh, dude.
Whoa.
All right, now I'm back to this article on horrifying things people found out about their coworkers. Okay, speaking of corpse eating, one individual says, I worked with a guy who murdered his landlord and ate some of the corpse. He ate a lung.
Just wanted to see what it would taste like, maybe.
But what's frightening is this individual says he wasn't a notable weirdo or outcast and was actually pretty good at his job.
Yeah, those are the scary ones.
Yeah, I think that might be like a whole thing that like serial killers and stuff like that they're, because of them having like basically no emotion, they're very good at like pretending to just be completely normal people.
Some, yes. Here's a guy who worked at a friggin' company for 30 years, and then he got caught watching women taking a poop in the bathroom.
Weirdo. Why? Who wants to watch that?
He was like creeping up into the ceiling and looking through the ceiling tiles.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't even a camera situation.
That sounds like he was physically crawling on up there. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take my lunch a little early here, fellas, if you don't mind.
That seems
makes
worse.
It worse. Yeah. Like you're putting in the effort.
Oh, I mean, why watch something on tape when you can watch it live, you know?
Worked with a guy who got caught up in a Chris Hansen sting operation.
Oh, no.
Chris
my
Hansen.
God.
What a hero.
Male employee took a female employee's house keys out of her purse and had copies made. When the female employee got home from work that day, he was waiting for her in her bedroom. She got out of there. Got the cops called.
Thank God.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, home from work, huh? Me too.
I'd be confused for a second. Like, I thought I just left where you were.
I would think I was seeing things.
Oh, my God.
I would absolutely look behind me for a camera. What? All right, finally. Because Janelle can't take anymore. Look at her.
Yeah, you're not going to go back to work ever.
Are we freaking you out? You look a little freaked out.
No.
All right.
Of course not.
I don't know what happened here. This could have been just an accident. Like a guy with irritable bowel syndrome or something, but a guy worked at the same office with me for about 6 months. Older guy. Nice guy. Kind of weird. We never saw him again after he took a dump in the stairwell.
Oh, I bet he just had an emergency.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
I think so, too.
Yeah, because I'm not coming back either.
Yeah, right. If it was on purpose, he might have stuck around.
I don't even care if I've worked there for 15 years. If something like that happened, I'd be like, nope, this is it.
All right, Janelle wants details on this, so I'm going to give her details. The guy who what's the word I'm looking for, donated this story to the article said, I saw this man suddenly get up and walk as fast as possible to the stairwell. So that's evidence right there that he had a code brown. Okay. Didn't think anything of it until I heard a scream about 10 minutes later. Someone walked up on his leavings. And okay, Janelle, if you demand details, I'll give them to you. There was a giant pile at the top of the stairs and then a trail leading down.
Yeah, he was running for a bathroom or something.
No one saw him again, never came back, never called to return the boss's calls. I guess he was just embarrassed and decided he was done. Okay.
That's so sad. That happened on a flight, didn't it, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, the diarrhea trail.
Were you on that airplane, Janelle? Because you travel a lot.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we talked about that. That's terrible.
That's so bad.
Mortifying.
Causing the entire plane to turn around.
I mean, I know every one of us, when we get on one of those airplanes, at least I do, sometimes I look around and I ask myself, does this look like the kind of crowd that would end up on the front page of a paper because of a massive plane accident, right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I look and, there's a little baby. Oh, that's good news, right? Little babies don't end up on the cover of the...
Or like a bunch of nuns or something.
Yeah, right. I ask myself that question. You travel so much, Janelle. Do you ever look around to the crowd and wonder, oh, God, is this the guy who's going to poop in the aisle? Is that the girl who's going to...
Yeah, I feel like in the gate, you can always identify this person's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Like, you already feel bad for the flight attendant.
You've traveled enough to where you could read it on these people.
Tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
At least maybe you can prepare yourself for such a thing.
I mean, I don't know how flight attendants do it.
No.
Worst job in the world.
They're not treated very well, it sounds like.
Oh, no.
You're not getting on any airplanes anytime soon, are you? Going to be around town for a while?
I think so. Yeah, I was gone last week, but no, I think I'm going to be here.
We're happy to have you in town.
I love being here.
Just knowing you're in town is a good thing.
Oh.
And then having you on the program.
Case.
Yeah, just in case
we need you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Jungle Jane.
Thanks, you guys.
Happy 32nd birthday to FXT Jesus. Happy birthday to Hardcore Jason from B Jesus. And happy 41st birthday to the studliest stud we know, Jordan Parisi.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Regular furnace maintenance can be your wallet's best friend, slashing energy bills and warding off those inconvenient breakdowns that seem to strike at the worst moments. Don't leave it to chance. Schedule your tune-up today at standardheating.com.